Welcome back, folks. Thanks for staying tuned. We're getting ready to jump on into our second series of the day as GAM take on 𝘀𝗰𝗶𝗹𝗀. With me, as usual, is 𝘀𝗶𝗶𝗹𝗀 and 𝘀𝗰𝗋. Maybe I'll throw to you first. GAM, they're looking really good recently.
Yeah, and if you want to detract from GAM, you can look to strength of schedule and say week 3 was against lower tier teams, but they came into it and they absolutely dominated those lower tier teams in a way that you would hope the projected best team in the league to do so, the former best team in the league to do so. And Levi in
Oh,
particular and Levi in particular stepping back up to in what we had as a jungle week to claim that to be the king of the jungle that week, honestly, with a disgusting amount of carry threat pressure on that in that week. That whole week, he was nuts.
And 𝘀𝗰𝗋, we speak about strength of schedule. GAM lost their first 2 games. From that point, they've won their next 4 series. The first win that they got was a 2-1. After that, it's been 2-0, 2-0, 2-0. If you want to make a graph of how they've gone, it started fairly low and it's just going up.
Yeah, it's massively going up, and I think with that, they must have a massive mental advantage coming into these games towards the end, because when you're on that high, you just ride it out, and like I'm personally an ego a hype player, so as soon as you start getting these wins coming through, you start playing better and better, and I feel like that's what they're doing. And when you have the tough people coming up in a couple of days, I think. They got a tougher opponent. I think it's going to be very good if they can get a nice 2-0 here.
And 𝘀𝗶𝗶, going back to you right now, 𝘀𝗰𝗶𝗹𝗀 are at the end of the hard streak. They've lost to 𝘀𝑠he, they've lost to Cerberus, now they've got to take on GAM. It's the last really tough game that they have. What do you think they can do? Because you talked about King of the Jungle week. 𝘀𝗀𝗃, in my opinion, has been one of the players.
𝘀𝗃 has probably been the biggest disappointment of the splits. And that's because at the end of spring, he was, I think, our rookie of the split, and he was contesting for best jungler. He didn't quite live up to Levi, but hey, it's Levi, right? And then the split, he's been one of our worst. I think there's only like 2 junglers who are worse than him statistically.
Dante.
Dante's one of them, but even then, but yeah, it's really, really rough from 𝘀𝗃, and the team as a whole is sort of collapsing a bit, but 𝘀𝗃 is the one who has suffered the most, I think, from this fall, from this change in meta and whatnot.
I just realized that my camera completely died, so I do apologize if it is still having a bit of a fun time. Hopefully it will solve itself. 𝘀𝗰𝗋, going back to you, what do you think? Okay, we talked about the Levi 𝘀𝗃 matchup and 𝘀𝗃 not living up to expectations in winter. Do you think that jungle matchup is going to be the deciding factor, or do you think it comes to another role?
Well, so far in the VCS, I feel like jungle is the highest, the best jungler tends to win the games. I mean, we saw it in the last series where it was all about if DNK had that good game or not. And I think this series is going to be no different, right? But the change is that Levi is probably the best jungler in the league, if not top 2, and I think he's just gonna run the map really.
One other role that I do want to bring up is top lane 𝘀𝗶𝗶, because I think 𝘁𝗈𝚲 has been playing very well so far this split. What do you think he can pull off against 𝘀𝗀𝗃?
I mean, yeah, I think you look at 𝘁𝗈𝚲 and 𝘀𝗀𝗃, and you would go from last split saying they were the top two. They were the top 2 top laners, and both of them kind of slipped a bit this split. 𝘀𝗀𝗃 had like just recovered from a pretty bad sickness over the downtime that was meant to be summer, so he was a bit rusty. He came in, but he looked fairly happy back into the swing of things in week 2. 𝘁𝗈𝚲, however, has been struggling compared to what we want to see out of him. He's still been a bit of an impact player, but he has had games where he's just ran it down on cannon, and that's going from like one of the biggest strengths, especially lane player strengths, for the side of 𝘀𝗰𝗶𝗹𝗀 to a potential liability. really hurts and has that knock-on effect that hurts the jungle, hurts the bot, the ability for the support to roam, and build that the things that were the other strengths of Saigon Buffalo, using that top lane pressure that Husman could always get as a linchpin.
And we actually saw it in one series. I can't remember which one, but 𝘁𝗏 having a pretty stellar performance on a Kennen to be able to get a win right at the end of a game. I can't remember who that was against, but I know it happened. 𝘀𝗰𝗶, I do want to go back to you, and I want to speak a little bit about this mid lane, 𝘁𝗏 against 𝘀𝗏, because I know we've got a lot of hype for 𝘀𝗏 here, specifically from a certain Rebel Fox, but I'm gonna be honest. I'm not quite on this train yet. It's the CS, I think, for me, is the main thing that keeps me off the train. Do you think 𝘀𝗏 can perform against 𝘁𝗏?
I think it's going to be very hard because I think 𝘁𝗏's champion pool goes pretty well into 𝘀𝗏's one, right? And like 𝘁𝗏 has had a very good Syndra performance. I know a lot of people don't like to see the Syndra, as we touched on before, but I mean, 𝘁𝗏's Syndra has been pretty nuts to see and has really helped their side setup for that Levi jungle to come in and get the kills. And I think it's going to be 𝘁𝗏 favored personally, but I'm excited to see what's going to happen there.
And okay, so for GAM, 4 wins, 2 losses. Saigon Buffaloes, 3 wins, 3 losses. One player for me who I think has been arguably the best player for Saigon Buffalo, and maybe one of the best players in the league, is 𝘁𝗏. And 𝘁𝗶, you remember that 𝘚liche play 𝘁𝗏 made on in the top lane to completely shut. Again, I keep forgetting who this was against. I think it was Burst the Sky.
I don't know. I wasn't on, so
𝘀𝗀cie, 𝘀𝗀cie.
yeah.
That's it. I think. Wait, I honestly have no idea who it was against now.
No idea. But either
Sorry.
way, being able to cancel, actually knowing that there was a Norn involved, it was probably Team Secret.
Yeah.
But yeah, being able to like find those animation cancel, like cancel the moves of the enemy's mid animation, it's insane. The guy is absolutely nuts. He has insane knowledge on his roam timings, and that's been muted a bit this split because he hasn't been able to link up with 𝘁𝗏 so well. But this guy is still one of the best supports in the league. Is he the best? It's hard to tell on a team that's struggling, but he looks really good.
And 𝘀𝗰𝗶, to go back to you, for Saigon Buffalo, and again going back to this mid lane of 𝘀𝗏 against 𝘁𝗏, we've seen 𝘁𝗏 every now and then being shoved on Galio duty. You talked about the Syndra that we've seen from him. Do you think this is a series where GAM put 𝘁𝗏 again on something like Galio, or do you think it looks more towards the carry mid laners like the Syndra?
I think it could be the Galio, because I know 𝘀𝗏 does like to play the TF, so it could just be like you take the Galio so you can sort of try and match the roams. It's like taking the Rise, sort of follow up, and then you can give some support there. But I think overall, like 𝘀𝗏 will try and take the Galio away, which allows the Syndra to be pretty good into that matchup. So I'd like to see the Syndra. I think it's really good in that mid lane, but depending on how heavy they draft towards his bot side, I feel like it could be a Galio angle.
I've just been sent a picture of what my camera is doing by clockwork. I don't know what's going on with my camera.
Wave your hand in front of it. That usually fixes it for me.
Wait, it worked.
Oh,
did it work when I did it, or did it work before? Okay, well, if it starts playing up, let me know and I'll wave at the camera again. We are getting closer and closer to jumping on into picks and bans for our final series of the day. A reminder, GAM currently sitting 3rd in the standings, Saigon Buffalo sitting 4th. So we're getting to the stage now where pretty much whichever team wins this is guaranteed a spot in playoffs. Pretty much. We're around that kind of area, 𝘁𝗏.
Yeah, to really secure it, you're looking for that 7 or 8 wins. So they still have a few. They still have a few to go. They lost a couple. But they're getting to a place that it's going to be hard for the back end to catch up, especially if GAM takes it here, because then there's at least a 2-series gap between them and the next contenders. So at that point, you probably have a very strong
round robin.
Yeah, it is. And
wait,
wow, this draft is going really quickly.
It is. It's flying by. We've got a Nami locked in, 𝘀𝗰𝗶. But the Lucian's been taken away by the side of, or I should say we had a Lucian locked in. 𝘁𝗁𝗵𝗺 have denied the Nami. Which side do you prefer, essentially, from the split up of the bot lane?
I like to see taking away the Nami. I feel like it reduces a lot of the power of the Lucian, and Nami does pretty well with everyone. I mean, Jhin is a big one, and it allows you to bully early on into the Leona. I am sad that they hovered the Teemo and didn't pick it, because I called it out in chat earlier that they should pick a Teemo. And I'm gutted that there's no Teemo picks.
Oh.
Are we actually going to get a Lissandra locked in here, Marby?
Yeah, it's interesting. This is a sort of pick that, you know, it's been brought up before, but usually as a kind of pick to LeBlanc, I don't necessarily know how well it does into the Vex. But yeah, that's the choice they've gone for. It's definitely an answer to it, but we're gonna have to see how it actually works.
My webcam's gone as well.
Okay. Getting some top laners banned by the side of 𝘁𝗁𝗵𝗺, trying to pinch away onto 𝘁𝗂's pool. Dare we say, is the Croc going to be making a return again?
Yeah, it's 𝘁𝗂, so there's a high chance of it. he does love it, but I do like on the other side, GAM trying to hit the carry pool. That's the big one. You've got Shogun in for the side of SGB. He's been that carry player for them when he's in, so trying to push him onto something like the Jhin does mute his ability to really pop off.
Talk about the Jhin, the Misfortune Open as well. Maybe, I was going to say 𝘀𝗰𝗋, but that has been banned away by the side of GAM here, 𝘀𝗰𝗋. I actually want to touch on this Viego pick, because we haven't seen it yet today. Actually, never mind. Let's talk about Jinx, because we saw a lot of Jinx in the first series today, and it looks like we might be getting another series with Jinx priority.
Yeah, Jinx is sort of had a boost because of the arcane hype, but also it's just a broken champion altogether. The hyperscaling that she has is kind of nuts, especially when you put it with an enchanter support. Nami E slow on top of her Jinx auto attacks is going to be kind of crazy. It allows you to land those traps very easily, as well as having great trades because you can always sustain as well. I really like it, but it looks like GAM are countering with 𝘁𝗁𝗵𝗆. I mean, it's a pretty all-in dive.
And it's locked in as well. Marby's got her head in her hand. So while she gathers her thoughts, Gizmo, is this Zat solo lane? Or is this Zat
it's jungle.
Because I've seen both.
It's jungle. It's 100% jungle. Levi has one tank jungler and it is called 𝘁. I don't know why. I don't know why that's his pick, but he does it.
It's a good pick.
I'd love to see a full AP 𝘁, but it is going to be in the jungle. It offers a lot of gank setup, to be fair, but I mean, it's a shame that he hasn't got any other tank jungles that he'd rather pick. I mean, there's so many to choose from, really. Even just an off.
There was the one time he played 𝘁𝗁𝗵𝗀𝗀.
Hey, 𝘁𝗁𝗵𝗀𝗀 has massive AP scaling. That's perfectly fine. Electrocute 𝘁𝗁𝗵𝗀𝗀 mid is absolutely broken.
Well, instead of a 𝘁𝗁𝗵𝗀𝗀𝗀 mid, we've got the Lissandra mid. I want to touch on the 𝘁𝗁𝗵𝗵𝗀𝗀 draft here, 𝘀𝗰𝗋, because I don't know if I like it. There's a lot of cool champions, but I don't know if it synergizes well.
Well, on the pro side, they have got the Lissandra Peel, which will also help a lot for this Jinx, which is something that I'm looking forward to seeing. If Froggy's able to peel this Jinx, she should just be able to run through the enemy team. But obviously, it's a lot harder when you have the 𝘁 engage and the Leona engage. Those will have to be blocked by the Nami R, which is a massive factor in them being able to win these fights. Obviously, they have the pick potential of Lissandra. I think Gwen is kind of nuts in that top lane. The true damage to be able to shred through everyone, and yeah, I like the Buffalo's draft, to be honest. I think that's more what I'd like to play.
Marby, you on the side of Buffalo as well?
No, it's because GAM have a very simple objective. It is throw everything at Buffalo and blow them up. You have Levi, B, and 𝘁𝗁𝗵𝗆 all being able to dive in very effectively. And only really 𝘁𝗁𝗵𝗆 can be really upset easily. So B can be upset easily. So I think based on just how simple it is for GAM, they're going to be able to take this one. But
okay. So, Marby on the side of GAM. Gizmo was on the side of the Buffalo. Unless I've already forgotten, which, to be honest, wouldn't surprise me. Either way, we are into game. We are on to the Rift. And I want to touch on GAM's draft because we talked about how they can just throw everything in. And 𝘁𝗶𝗶, I think I'm on the side of you. I like comps that are very simple because I'm a play-by-play. I've got a very simple mind.
Yeah, I mean, I like drafts that can also do a little bit of everything personally, and I think while they lack in some areas, they have, especially in sort of the range department, for their main carries at least. I don't think it's really going to matter that much because you have the 𝘀𝗰𝗋 and the and the 𝘀𝗰𝗋 that can definitely take it, sort of work as that execute and blow up the members from SGB. That gives them the time for the tanks to just hold on. 𝘁𝗏 will be wreaking havoc in the back line as well, and that gives lots of time for 𝘀𝗀kid to just make his way in and do the damage.
That's a very aggressive Zenith play coming through, and 𝘀𝗀kid's already forced to use the cleanse. And now Shogun and 𝘁𝗏kid, on the second part of the trade, they were able just to come out on top, really. 2 cleanses being used at level 1. That is not something that I was expecting. In fact, all of the summoners in the bottom lane, with the exception of the flashes, used.
Yeah, and I like the move from GAM, trying to find and get that pressure, because otherwise you're just going to be outranged. You're just going to be poked down forever, and it's going to be a nightmare to try and get anything done. You're really going to need sort of 𝘁𝗏 to come help you out and try and get those. Take advantage of that perma push that the Jinx and Nami are going to get, because Lucian's just going to have a bad time being trapped under tower. That's not what you pick Lucian for. But you look across at the rest of the map, that's going okay for GAM. They got the priority on the top side. 𝘁𝗏kid is trading quite well onto 𝘀𝗏gy and getting that priority there, which should help protect 𝘁𝗏 on his relatively weak early clear. Like, he's not going to be able to get a lot of pressure down, but BJ is.
Yeah, BJ, the lockdown comes through from 𝘁𝗏kid. 𝘁𝗏kid can run, but BJ is just going to pick up first blood for 𝘁𝗀𝗁𝗁.
Yeah, it's a good move from 𝘁𝗏kid to try and turn onto 𝘀𝗏gy. He knows pretty much that he's dead. He was very pushed up in lane, and there was a perfect wraparound from BJ. There was no way out. So he just tries to get the kill onto 𝘀𝗀kid, forces a flash out. And that means if 𝘁𝗏 comes down and tries to make something happen, they can absolutely convert and turn onto the side drop.
GAM are going to use some pressure that they've been able to get on the bottom side of the map just to be able to push the wave in, try to establish some vision into BJ's jungle as the 𝘁𝗏 heads towards the top side just to pick up the top 𝘁𝗀kid.
Yeah, going to make sure that he's able to secure that. Not going to let BJ get away with that, and the first blood with B coming up to make sure as well, get a bit of vision down in that jungle so they know 100% sure at all times where BJ will be. But 𝘁𝗏kid just putting the pressure onto 𝘀𝗏gy, that's going to be a big point of pain for the Buffalo as time goes on. And yeah, there's not much to really say here. It's a nice move from 𝘁𝗏kid, as we said, to turn on to 𝘀𝗏gy, but yeah, saves his flash because he knows even if he tries to flash, he's just not going to make it.
And this is a matchup that 𝘀𝗀kid picked. He knew that it was a Vex for 𝘁𝗏kid, and 𝘀𝗀kid picked up the Lissandra, and it's not going well, at least not yet. And 𝘁𝗏kid just more than happy to play this matchup, even though he gave away first blood.
Yeah, and I truly don't know what the reasoning behind this pick is, because I feel like I mean, in theory, potentially you can catch the Vex as she flies in your Frozen Tomb and stop her from being able to get those big AoE fears off, but the timing on that must be so tight, and the skill to catch the flying target, it's insane. But 𝘁𝗏's gone too far.
𝘁𝗏 goes flying in, and he's instantly aqua prisoned, dropped into 4 bloblets, no teleports able to keep him alive, and 𝘁𝗏's just going to fall. 𝘁𝗏kid ends up picking up the kill, and now the side of 𝘁𝗀𝗁𝗁 looking towards 𝘁𝗏kid, who's forced to flash over the wall, and will be able to get out to safety, but GAM just biting off way more than they can chew.
Yeah, not expecting 𝘁𝗏kid to be in the vicinity, and just the instant drop of the exhaust on 𝘁𝗏kid when he comes in to bring the damage means that there's no ability for them to even clap back. If there's no exhaust, hell, even that chicken is in the way, making 𝘁𝗏kid's life extremely difficult to get the shots through. But without the exhaust, maybe he's able to trade back. Maybe he's able to be enough of a threat that 𝘁𝗏kid's passive can go off. But No, it's just 𝘀𝗀𝗆's there. He's in the way. And they can't get anything done. It's just 𝘁𝗀𝗆 being over-aggressive. We're seeing the same sort of problems as 𝘁𝗁𝗁 was doing in their first game. First series, right?
And now in the bot lane, both cleanses are back up. We saw them burning that level 1 around, 2 minutes into the game.
Yeah.
And I'm a little disappointed, I guess, that 𝘁𝗀𝗆 hasn't really looked towards ganking this bottom lane yet, because I feel like he could pretty much go into any lane and try to snowball it, but he hasn't yet.
He can. It's a little bit hard. Oh, never mind. He's found 𝘁𝗀𝗆, though.
He has found 𝘁𝗀𝗆. Blastgun will actually take him out of the Aqua Prison, and now 𝘀𝗀𝗆 in a tough spot will be able to take the claw out to safety, and somehow nobody dies.
Yeah, very interesting. 𝘁𝗀𝗆 having to use the second auto on that stretching strikes to on the blast code, which sort of meant that he just traded places with 𝘁𝗀𝗆, and 𝘁𝗀𝗆 was able to flash over the wall and get out. Yeah, it's a nice move from 𝘁𝗀𝗆. Constantly making moves as he goes mid lane now, but he's not
𝘀𝗀𝗆
really
doesn't have
finding
flash available.
And 𝘁𝗀𝗆 is probably dead. Yeah, no.
Ooh. Okay. I just wonder if 𝘁𝗁𝗆 wasn't able to follow up. Judging from the minimap, he was relatively close by as 𝘁𝗊 just looking to run down onto 𝘁𝗏𝗔 now. Needs a quick draw to be able to close the gap, but doesn't have it available.
Yeah, I think that the thing is not so much that the follow-up's not there, but it's the fact that 𝘀𝗀𝗆 was under tower and probably self-ulted. It's just, you can't do anything for that, but if... Oh, 𝘁𝗀𝗆? Has he landed the ult?
He did land the ult, but I think he was using it to clear the wave, actually.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
So, yeah. Nothing going to come out of that. 𝘁𝗀𝗆 just being able to put on the pressure. 𝘁𝗀𝗆 has... But, yeah, 𝘁𝗀𝗆 has tried very hard in the last few minutes to get things done, but he's not actually finding any real impact. He's just sort of throwing his blob self in and trying to make blob things happen, but they're not. As we see 𝘁𝗆𝗆 lurking around the mid lane, not going to find anything, but the Buffalo bot lane has made the first rotation to this Rift Herald. 𝘁𝗀𝗆 should stick around in the bot lane and just try and mine the plates, but I can never trust the VCS ADCs, but he's doing the right.
𝘁𝗆𝗆 will be more than happy to get a bit of extra gold into his pocket, being fairly even with the Jinx, which is not where a Lucian would want to be. But this is the point where I want to really be able to be roaming around the map, because I feel that in terms of roams, I'd much rather have a Leona roaming than an Nami roaming.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's been pressed a lot. I get the wave clear from the Jinx rockets. They're just too much for him to deal with at the moment. But as it goes on, as the bot lane becomes much more isolated in that 1v1, you're probably going to be able to see B get out a little bit more. I'd like to see him hang about in the lane a little bit just to get that level 6. And thus we can make roams a lot more impactful as he moves towards, say, the top lane, move towards the mid lane. But the solo lanes are actually quite hard to gank. You've got a lot of immunity from the Gwen. She press W, she go immune. And then you have 𝘀𝗀𝗆, who can just ult himself under tower and be very safe. He's struggling. We have to acknowledge 𝘀𝗀𝗆 is struggling just in the 1v1, of course, but as long as he doesn't die and can do his thing later on and keep people CC'd, that's enough for 𝘀𝗀𝗆. That's all 𝘀𝗀𝗆 needs to do.
Just a reminder that in Week 2, GAM did not drop a single game, let alone dropping a series. And on the other side, 𝘀𝗁𝗁𝗆 only able to pick up a 2-1 win against a Team Secret. Then they lost 2-1 to 𝘀𝗀𝗆, and then after that they lost 2-0 to 𝘀𝗀𝗆. So 𝘀𝗁𝗁𝗆 trying to bounce back after what was a disappointing Week 2, and they're going to do that by looking for another gank.
That rocket!
Into the rocket! Oh, Shogun, take a bow!
Yeah, I knew exactly what 𝘀𝗀𝗆's player was going to come, flash immediately out of the CC, had the rocket time perfectly. It was beautiful. 𝘀𝗀𝗆 just gave him the thumbs up. He know he got done. And it's been really rough for 𝘀𝗀𝗆. He's not able to actually get out on the map and try and make something happen at the sides. But SGB are just heading to that mid lane over and over again. Vex can't get out of the point and click CC. She went for the teleport, not the cleanse. And yeah, this has been we thought maybe you might have think 𝘀𝗀 should be attacking mid lane, hit 𝘀𝗺 because he's a fairly weak laner, but Vex is just not able to defend herself, and there's not a lot of vision, there's not a lot of support from the jungler, and it's paying off with the Buffalo.
To be honest, 𝘀𝗶𝗶𝗹, as we get a replay, and as you said, it's a point-and-click CC. I'm trying to wonder if that ult was calculated or just lucky as hell from Shogun.
Calculated. Yeah, I mean, the timing is it's always a little bit of luck when it comes to timing, but definitely knew exactly that the flash was going to come out, was 100% predicting the flash. Yeah, there's a solid chance that you might miss that anyway, because it's always a little bit hard to get your timings with that rocket, but it worked. Worked wonderful.
Yeah, it worked. What more complaints can you have if you're a Saigon Buffalo fan? That being said, they aren't that far ahead in the gold department. They do still have a Rift Herald in 𝘁𝗀's inventory, which will be, well, at least 200 to 300 more gold going into their pockets, unless 𝘁𝗀 tries his best to roleplay ego.
Yeah, we're looking at a very similar situation to the first game of the day, where we have a team that's getting pretty far ahead, punishing a lot of mistakes from the other team, but the gold isn't really getting super far ahead. And that's because you look at the mid jungle CS, and it's getting a little bit low. Top and bottom are about even, but here we are. The bot lane's gonna come down. That's gold onto Shogun. That's what they want, and there's no response from 𝘀𝗀 to try and
go away.
block it.
𝘁𝗀, go away. Don't steal the gold. Okay, good.
You didn't. He knows what he's doing.
I thought he was in range. I thought.
Also,
Yeah,
he's
but
an
he hadn't
enchanter. He
looked
deserves it. He's not one of these Leona types that just need to press
How
W and then
dare
full build.
you? How?
But
Can I get a new color costume?
no.
No.
Yeah.
I want my fellow support main of 𝘁𝗀. Then we can. Actually, I need to double check if 𝘁𝗀's an enchanter player.
This is where you find
Anyway,
out.
I can't really talk since I first got to Plat abusing Yuumi. So,
Oh.
enchanter, right?
Yeah, it is. It's also
Okay.
playing AFK, but
I will have you know,
Especially all
I
Yuumi.
jumped off my ADC repeatedly to proc my passive.
yeah, that's what they all say. Anyway, plates
That's
are
why I
going
used to
down.
have loads of deaths. That's Yuumi. Anyway, as you mentioned, back to the game. We're nearly 14 minutes in. It's 3 kills for Saigon Buffalo, and they are nearly 1,500 gold ahead of a 𝘀𝗀. And you know what we still haven't seen yet?
What?
Levi ganking.
Well, we saw
Where
him go,
are the
we saw
ganks
him
from
go
the side?
mid on the mini map, but we didn't get a good view of it. No.
It hasn't been shown on the screen. It didn't happen, 𝘁𝗶𝗶𝗹.
Yeah, fair enough. But you're gonna be looking for something coming up soon as this dragon is spawning. It is the Infernal Drake. It's a little bit of a juicy one that people might want to actually consider fighting over. And the 𝘀𝗀 are pretty good warding around the outside of the river, but within the river it's all lit up for SGB. But Shogun, a little bit isolated onto the side as there's just fighting going on.
Okay, this is finally a fight going well for 𝘀𝗀. 𝘀𝗀 will die to the culling, and the lockdown comes onto 𝘁𝗀. It's a double kill for 𝘁𝗀kid. 𝘀𝗀 are well and truly back in the game. 500 gold down, Infernal Drake on the cards, and 𝘀𝗀 finally getting something onto the scoreboard.
Didn't get to see the start of it, but we got to see 𝘀𝗀 had been caught out, and the follow-up onto 𝘁𝗀 was wonderful also. No!
Oh, B, you needed to be blocking the ult.
You
Can we just
gotta...
give Shogun MVP?
I mean, if they win, sure. But yeah, fantastic. Great ultimate. Levi's smite was down, probably used onto the Nami or the Lissandra in the scuffle. It's a shame for the side of 𝘀𝗀, but they walk away with the bigger.
Oh, he couldn't take the crawl.
prize. Yeah, okay, that's huge from them, and then yeah, finding that stretching strikes, and then actually I don't even know that 𝘁𝗀 could have walked away, but the 𝘁𝗀 wraparound should have meant 𝘁𝗀 died instead. But it was a great run in. Good job from B. Finds the pick, and then you have the dragon fiasco, but they still walk away with 2 kills. That's gonna bring
Shogun
the gold right back to them.
Shogun didn't have vision. He guessed it.
No, that's... Yeah,
Or, literally,
That
if
hurt.
he had stood there and just done an auto Q auto,
Yeah, it's dead.
Yeah,
Oof. But on the current state of the map, SGB have responded and got control of the top side. They're going to pick up this Rift Herald, but they will trade it for first prick in the bot side with 𝘀cie wailing away on that. There it goes. Now it's just up to we just have to see if 𝘁𝗏𝗃 is up to the task of defending top side. Not very likely. They probably won't even need to use the Rift Herald for it as this wave crashes.
Levi is nearby, but it will be a 2v3. But as you mentioned, 𝘁𝗏𝗃 is just going to walk away. There'll be another tower going into Shogun's pockets. Still, Rift Herald available for Saigon Buffalo, so they could look to drop this mid or bot lane, depending on which lane they want to break an outer tower on.
Yeah, but we're still only within like 200 gold of each other, so this game is very close. We're seeing a bit of a lead develop in the jungle for 𝘁𝗀𝗃 having those 2 early kills, but 𝘁𝗃 picked up a big bounty in that dragon fight. So, well on his way on 2 items compared to the 1 and a bit from Jinx. So, yeah, we're looking for a bit of a scuffle around 𝘁𝗃 if you're GAM. Try and push that lead. Try and take advantage of the early game damage of the 𝘀cie, especially one this far ahead already. But the angles are very low. It's very hard to actually engage onto SGB's comp, which is their saving grace.
We saw them being able to successfully get 1 gank off, but it revolves around being able to stop a 𝘀𝗏𝗃 taking the glacial path out to safety. But right now, things are starting to calm down somewhat. This game could have been so much different if 𝘁𝗏𝗃 didn't essentially get caught in the mid lane twice after he got so far ahead of 𝘀𝗏𝗃 as well in the early stages of the game.
Yeah, he was able to pick up about like 30 CS. He still managed to keep himself pretty far ahead as Levi misses the short hop, but this tower is going to go down. They're probably going to be able to run it down into a second charge as well, just based off the pressure that these 2 champs provide compared to a 𝘁𝗏 and a 𝘁𝑥. And with Tark joining as well, yeah, this is pretty much guaranteed.
Oh, nice try, Levi. But sadly, it doesn't work. Now, 4 members of Saigon Buffalo are in this bottom lane, which means there's an opportunity right now for 𝘁𝗃𝗃 to go onto 𝘀𝗏𝗃, which he's doing. 𝘀𝗏𝗃's HP goes incredibly low, but 𝘀𝗏𝗃 will just about survive. Levi trying to cancel some backs, unable to do so. All the while, 𝘁𝗏𝗃 just pushing in the top lane, 𝘁𝗃𝗃 picking up towers in the mid lane.
Yeah, in that process of play, 𝘁𝗏𝗃 was able to just shove down top lane turret and pick that up. The damage that came out of 𝘁𝗃𝗃 onto 𝘀𝗏𝗃 in the mid lane means they're going to be able to pick up, or at least do a heck of a lot of damage down onto this mid lane turret. Might not be able to find the kill exactly. Yeah, there it goes. They find it, and so it's actually a pretty healthy lead for GAM. They can push in and actually set up really deep vision if they find any sort of numbers advantage on the side of the map, because there's no turrets for them to worry about. They can push really deep with their waves if they group up properly and play off the 2 waves instead of the 3.
3 kills to 2, nearly 20 minutes in. Saigon Buffalo trailing by a very small amount, just 500 gold. 𝘁𝗏𝗃 having a think about potentially trying to collapse onto 𝘁𝗏𝗃 and B, deciding against it. We do have a Cloud Drake, and 𝘁𝗏𝗃, this is our 4th Cloud Rift of the day.
Yeah, alright. Almost looking forward to the extra dragons as the fight begins.
Well, the engage comes through. It's a decent tidal wave onto all the members of GAM, but is it enough? 𝘀𝗏𝗃 goes into the ultimate. Engage comes through from B as 𝘁𝗏𝗃 into the backline. 𝘁𝗀𝗃 is gonna fall. 𝘁𝗏𝗃 on the run. 𝘁𝗏𝗃 down. It's a clean ace from the side of GAM. Double kill for 𝘁𝗃𝗃. Double kill for 𝘁𝗏𝗃. And Baron's up as well. Who needs Drake?
Look at those health bars from 𝘁𝗏𝗃 and 𝘁𝗏𝗃 walking away on basically single-digit HP. But 𝘁𝗏𝗃's got his teleport. 𝘁𝗏𝗃 does as well, but he doesn't care. He's much more interested in the bot wave farm. Wants to punish 𝘀𝗏𝗃's CS numbers even more. they're going to grab that. They're going to reset. SGB are probably going to be able to pick up that Constellation Dragon, but look at this. Huge engage from Levi being able to pick up 𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀, but 𝘁𝗀𝗃 is the real hero here.
Yep.
Getting that first pick and then finding that second weave onto the Shogun, blowing up, getting into the back line. 𝘁𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 almost kills him, and if that happens, hey, maybe the whole thing.
Okay, 𝘁𝗀𝗀 was
popped
very low. He teleported back in for the Baron. So, in fairness, 𝘀𝗁𝗵𝗶𝗹𝗀 did get some health bars down. It wasn't that one-sided.
Oh yeah, no, it was 𝘁𝗀𝗃 and 𝘁𝗀𝗀 both should have died. They were blinking, but hey, the teleport too strong.
Well, either way, GAM playing well as we kind of expected, following on from their week 2 performances. And 𝘀𝗁𝗵𝗶𝗹𝗀 well and truly on the back foot. The inner tower in the mid lane is going to fall, and B can pull the trigger with a solar flare if he wants to go in. But GAM are just going to take the tower and rotate down towards the bottom lane, where 𝘁𝗀𝗀 has already started pushing in a wave.
Yeah, they're going to be able to build a huge lead off of this. They went from fairly close to even to a 5,000 gold lead. Going to extend to about 6k now, and they might have found 𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀 again.
Solar flare, elastic slingshot in from Levi. Levi's going to get popped, and he doesn't have any passive to go towards good super mega death rocket. As 𝘁𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 gets sniped down, I thought he had survived, but the collateral damage will be essentially the end of the line for him. 𝘁𝗀𝗃 going in, finding a fair amount of damage, but GAM with 3 members, they're happy to keep on pushing, but now they will say enough's enough. They get 1 kill for 2. Not the best of plays considering they had the Baron buff.
Yeah, it's a win for Buffalo overall, but you do see a bit of a problem with the GAM comp, and that is the engage ranges of the team are so long that they don't actually necessarily sync up with the rest. See, 𝘁𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 is completely out of this. He doesn't get to do any damage until Levi and B are basically already dead. It's only really a great collateral damage that saves the fight for that gets them something back, and 𝘁𝗀𝗃 tries, but it's too hard for 𝘁𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 and 𝘁𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 to actually follow up on that. So
I got really thrown there because I saw on the scoreboard, I saw the 𝘁𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 go ult, and I thought, oh, it's 𝘁𝗀𝗀𝗀 who's dead, but then it came up on the screen, 𝘁𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 killed B, and I said, oh yeah, 𝘁𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 gets the kill onto B, and then I was thinking, wait, oh, I saw a 𝘁𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 go ult, what was going on there? But he had possessed the Leona spirit, so that makes a bit more sense.
Yeah, that's he narrowly avoids the kill from 𝘁𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 by possessing the spirit, but yeah, collateral damage, too good, got a lot of range, very useful ability. But now we see GAM, they've basically did their objective of pushing down those 2 outer turrets. They have 1 left, so controlling this topside jungle is the way to go from there. The Baron buff is sort of wearing off at this point, so they're not going to be too aggressive. If they overload this top side, they should be able to knock this down, should be able to weaken it at the very least. You have 𝘁𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 off in the other lane, just trying to spread Buffalo a little bit as much as you can, be a bit of a juicy target, try and make them commit to him, so GAM can rotate up and take this tower before there's any real response from 𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 or any other wave clear form on SGB.
Okay, 𝘁𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀, I've got a fun question for you based on league interactions.
Okay.
If a Zac builds a Guardian Angel, how does that interaction work? Does it go into the passive first, or does it pop the GA and then go into the passive?
I think it's GA first. I'm not 100% sure because it's been a long time since Guardian Angel was a tank item.
Yeah.
But I'm fairly sure it goes into that. Yeah, it does, but it also gives you a fat lot of AD that you're not exactly after a Zac.
True.
I
mean, I'll be honest, I think the best tank item is one that stops you from dying. I think that's... Surely that... Okay, I'll stop with the jokes.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume GA goes first, but I'm honestly only able to base that off my knowledge of being a Zilean player and just having the ult go first.
Well, that would make sense. I would imagine that the Zilean ult interaction is pretty much the same as a Guardian Angel. But 25 minutes into this game, 8 kills to 5 in favor of GAM. A 6.5k goal lead. But the base does still stand for the side of 𝘀𝗁𝗵𝗶𝗹𝗀𝗀, but will also be standing soon, 𝘁𝗀𝗶𝗶𝗹𝗀. is another Cloud Drake in 40 seconds time.
Yeah, this will be a sell point for GAM if they can pick that up. But the thing about that is the Drake isn't really what they want. The Drake is just a novelty. They're here for the fight. They're here to get another clean ace. That's what they're really after. As we see them pushing into this jungle. 𝘀𝗏 are a little bit out of position, so they're going to want to stall it a little bit. As the stretching
strikes miss. I'm surprised GAM just don't take the fight. I feel like they're just far enough ahead that they can go for it. Okay, 𝘁𝗏 comes through, he's doing work onto 𝘀𝗏. Stretching strikes are dropped. Solar Flare is denied by the Frozen Tomb. 𝘁𝗏 taken down to half HP as B goes gold. And meanwhile, on the other side of the fight, 𝘁𝗏 going in, able to find a kill. 𝘁𝗀 now being engaged on Elastic Slingshot over the wall, but the Heartbreaker will take 𝘁𝗀 back over to the other side as 𝘁𝗏 trying to find the damage on 𝘁𝗏. This one might not work out. Never mind, 𝘁𝗏 shows up, and 𝘁𝗏 has so much damage on the Lucian.
Yeah, and the wave in the top side is crashing at the perfect moment, so they can push that in. They might be able to push for the victory. It's only 10 seconds on Shogun, so it would be risky, but hey, it's GAM. They've been known to do riskier things.
We saw something similar from 𝘀𝗏cie not too long ago. There's a fairly big minion wave. There's one Nexus tower down. It's going to be another. 𝘁𝗀 trying to get under his tower will be able to do so successfully, but he will not be able to protect the final Nexus tower. And 𝘀𝗁𝗶𝗹𝘀 won't be able to protect the Nexus either because GAM take game 1.
Yeah, and though SGB were able to sort of punish a few mistakes from GAM early, when it came to actually skirmishing and team fighting, GAM were just unrivaled. The team of SGB just weren't together. They weren't fighting well, and there was no peel for Eddie. 𝘁𝗏 in that last fight in particular just 1v2'd the backline, just instantly deleted Eddie, and 𝘁𝗏 was just in there going, I can't do anything.
In all honesty, if you remove the first 10 minutes of that game, that was just domination from GAM.
Yeah. As soon as they got a lead, it was off to the races with them, but yeah, I mean, it was very good early moves from SGB. That's the silver.
And with that, we're going to be jumping on into a short break. When we return, we will be getting Gizmo's thoughts on the game and jumping on into game 2 of the series. Stay tuned here at VCS English. We'll be right back in a short bit. Welcome back, everyone. We are getting ready to jump on into our second game between GAM and 𝘀𝗁𝗶𝗹𝗀. Gizmo, you saw the first game. 𝘀𝗁𝗶𝗹𝗀 had a decent start to the game, but in the end, GAM's superior macro and team fighting was able just to, well, dominate 𝘀𝗁𝗶𝗹𝗀.
Yeah, it was just a matter of no peel for that Jinx late game. I feel like there was a bit of a miscommunication. Everyone wanted to go forward when you play a better front to back with the Jinx in that lane, and the Vexar just hits someone on the back line because no one wants to flash that, and he just instantly just gets one shot and get the reset. So, bit of a shame. I think that if they work on that draft, I think they could make it better. Maybe change the top line pick to something that's a bit stronger, maybe a bit more peel heavy to give that Jinx something to work with. And I think they could have taken that game away if they had played better on the day.
And 𝘁𝗶𝗶, I think one of the positives I thought for 𝘀𝗁𝗶𝗹𝗀 was exactly the opposite of what we were talking about coming into the game. I thought 𝘁𝗀 played rather well, one of his better games this split, where, in my opinion, he out-jungled Levi.
Yeah, we actually had a very solid game plan from 𝘁𝗀, rather. Come in early, try and hit the overextending 𝘁𝗏 and punish that immobile mage over and over again in the early lane. Fortunately, it wasn't able to extend to anything because despite killing him 3 times, I think, at least 2
Twice,
times,
at least
twice, it wasn't enough to get 𝘀𝗏 out of lane. 𝘀𝗏 wasn't able to go top lane and kill 𝘀𝗏. It wasn't able to go bot lane and kill Div. And because of that, you just wound up with a bit of gold on the Lissandra that got immediately cancelled out because 𝘀𝗏 still can't farm. And yeah, Vex just had way more wave pressure, and even being down was just far more effective. As mentioned, land ult, you win no team fight.
And Gizmo, do you think this Vex has to be a ban now for the side of 𝘀𝗁𝗶𝗹𝗀, or do you think they try not the salty run back, I don't know what you'd call it, where they take the Vex themselves and they put it into 𝘀𝗀𝗆's hands.
I think they could take the Vex. I didn't think the Vex was like the big problem in that game. I think it was just the fact that no one wanted to. Everyone didn't want to flash the Vexar because the Vex was like mispositioned in the fights, and then all of a sudden it's just on your back line. Like if someone just flashed it, all of a sudden those fights look a lot differently because you can actually play the front to back. I wouldn't mind if they take it away, but I don't know if it's going to look any better in 𝘀𝗀𝗆's hands. But then again, it is a champion that can do well with little farm because it's a new release champion, so maybe they take it.
Well, we'll have to see. 𝘀𝗁𝗵𝗶𝗹, they found it away. They want nothing to do with a champion. And GAM, they're over on red side, 𝘁𝗶𝗶. So they say, no Lucian, we want it gone.
No, and that's completely reasonable. It's an absolutely insane pick. 𝘀𝗀𝗆 put on a fantastic performance with it. And we know Shogun is a good AD carry, so don't give that sort of thing to him. Because, again, hey, you don't even need to rely on your team that much as Lucian. You just dash around, do your thing. But it is actually the self-ban of the Twisted Fate from SGB that bugs me, because I would like them to prioritize that sort of pick for 𝘀𝗀𝗆.
And 𝘀𝗁𝗆, if they are banning this Twisted Fate, that means that they have something else in mind that they want to be first picking. What comes first to your mind in that regard?
Well, it's hard to think actually on the spot. Maybe they just want to play a high-pressure bot lane, and they just don't want to risk the TF rooms down there. So it looks like they're hovering the Caitlyn. Is that going to be locked in? Yeah, so that makes a lot of sense, because Caitlyn can do a lot of... Could always just push lane, and it tends to play quite far up the lane if you pair it with like a Morgana, so you're constantly pushing. So banning the TF allows them to push up further, and not get punished as often.
Okay, well the Caitlyn is locked in. It looks like the answer for GAM though, 𝘁𝗶𝗆, might be the 𝘀𝗀𝗆 Thresh, and if you take the Thresh, you're also denying the Thresh from this Caitlyn.
Yeah, and if you pick that up, picking up the 𝘁𝗆 Rise is fine. It's a very good pick for him, and it means you have a very strong late game damage output that you just need to work on protecting. Unfortunately, you did give up the option of the Thresh, but 𝘁𝗆 and Shogun might just be looking to just make the biggest gap between the teams possible and stick at it.
Well, 𝘁𝗆's Rise is one of his most played champions, one of his highest win rate champions. But this is where things are getting interesting, 𝘀𝗀𝗆. You talked about high pressure bot lanes. What does that better than a Caitlyn Lux?
I was actually going to say I'd hate to see the Morgana. I want to see the Lux, because it is just such an abusive bot lane that the Lux E can just always hit you, just spam that out, and then when you hit that root, it's just an instant one shot, as well as being able to punish this low mobility AD carry Unofficial. I think it'd be a mistake here if they take the J4 instead of the Thresh. I know 𝘁𝗆 is very good on the J4, but if the first doesn't have any sort of peel, he's gonna fall prey to this lane very easily.
Well, it is locked in, and 𝘁𝗆 talked about peel. Where do you set Thresh? Because I'm also looking at maybe the potential Lulu angle.
So you have the Lulu angle. You can, if you're willing to just sacrifice the lane, you can also go for a Braum. That is very good up against the That's pretty useful up against the Lux. Come later stages of the game, it is a nightmare in lane, of course. But getting the J4 is actually a neat move, because if you look across at what SGB have, they can't get out of it. They have to blow flash. Well, actually, 90 caliber net might be able to help, but it's yeah. So I don't hate the J4 pick, and it's not like they got punished for it particularly hard anyway. But okay, it's really. Would I like Thresh more? Would I like Blitzcrank?
Lulu top, you can still lock in the Thresh, right? I actually had to cast a game recently, and it had Lulu mid. It was annoying. But either way, hopefully, 𝘀𝗀𝗆, this won't be a Lulu mid. Let's talk a little bit about the Jace, because it has been blind picked, and it's looking like BJ is going to be on this Qiyana.
Yeah, it's a real comfort pick for them. I'm expecting to see maybe the Ken picked into it on the other side, because I know that's both of their... Oh, sorry, I'm blind. But yeah, I know they like to play ranged top laners a lot, and Jace has been doing very well in the VCS, a lot of poke, and it does sort of work with their comp when you have the Lux as well, and the Caitlyn that can just poke from range. So if they have objective movement first, they can just poke and just...
That's locked in
the It's in a Mumu?
Okay.
Oh no. Oh, no.
That's in a Mumu jungle!
Oh no.
Wait. Oh,
what?
It's not even a 𝘁𝗆 support and 𝘀𝗀xe mid. Okay. So while 𝘁𝗀 loses her head, we've seen a 𝘁𝗀 once before Gizmo today, and it lost. Do you think 𝘁𝗀𝗶𝗹𝗀 have gone too far into the 𝘀𝗀esse and have want a bit too much cheese here?
I just feel like the 𝘁𝗀 just doesn't really match with the rest of their comp. Like,
Yeah.
And then they pick typically a 𝘁𝗆 to go in as well. There's two picks that stand out as something that doesn't work. I feel like they got halfway through the draft and went, yeah, we're playing a different comp altogether. Yeah, I don't know why they picked it. It seems a bit odd here. Maybe they want to be able to try and lock down someone when they do get a pick, but for the rest of your team comp, I think it would have been perfectly fine.
So, if they did go for the 𝘀𝗀xe mid pivot, and then had a different jungler on top of that with a 𝘁𝗆 support, I would get it. It gives you a bit of that extra engage without investing too much. Man, I just... They have very good single target catch. They have a very strong pick comp, and they have okay siege, so they can do things. They have win conditions. They exist.
So just quickly, you both prefer GAM's comp?
Yes. Yep. Yeah, I mean, I like the idea behind Buffalo. I like the poke. I just don't like their last two picks, and it's just sort of just gone. Yes, we've done our job now. We can leave, sort of thing. And yeah, but I don't know. That is crazy to me.
Yeah.
I think that says it all for 𝘁𝗀, to be honest. Which means 𝘁𝗀𝗶𝗹𝗀 are going to win this game, and we're going to head to a game 3. Gizmo, thank you very much for your thoughts. We are jumping on into the ref for game 2, potentially the final game between GAM and 𝘁𝗀𝗶𝗹𝗀. 3rd place in the league versus 4th place. Both, well, if GAM can win, they'll be completely clear of 𝘁𝗀𝗶𝗹𝗀 in that 3rd place spot and challenging the likes of 𝘀𝗀cie for 2nd. 𝘁𝗀, let's talk about Saigon's draft. What do they have to be doing in the early stages of the game?
So they need to be utilizing the insane amount of pressure they have in the side lanes. Both side lanes should be absolutely smashing the versions of GAM, especially bot lane. Yep. Bot lane more so than anywhere else. 𝘁𝗏 might have a bit of a struggle in the level 1. That's where 𝘁𝗏 can actually try and find an advantage in the lane, but you need to utilize that pushing lane, try and let 𝗀𝗀 be able to make something happen, try and get a snowball going. Vaguely interested to see how much AP he ends up building, because, I mean, putting a front line in front of your poke comp is never a bad thing. Making that front line a 𝘁𝗆, maybe that's a bad thing. But, yeah, going for that leash as well has kind of actually sacrificed that.
What is it with these bot laners level 1? They've got no chill.
I'm here for it, honestly. But yeah, thanks to that leash from the side of Buffalo, they actually give up the lane pressure early to the side of GAM, which could give an opening to 𝗀𝗀 if he wanted to go for something a little bit more cheesy, but he's an 𝘁𝗆, so he's not going to be able to get away with that. And yeah, he's going to go for that full clear. He's going to be a little bit slow compared to the Jarvan. But it's going to be... Oh, man, I'm perplexed. I haven't seen a 𝘁𝗆 jungle for a long time. Not even in solo queue. So, fair, yeah. We're going off season 1 knowledge here.
We've seen a fair bit of a 𝘁𝗆 lately, but that is in the support role. So we'll see what 𝗀𝗀 can pull off. And I think, do you think this goes to show that 𝘁𝗀𝗶𝗹𝗀 think, okay, GAM are the better team. We need to go for something a little bit off meta if we want to be able to take ourselves to a game 3?
Well, I don't think that's necessarily a sign of Buffalo as a team being worried, because Buffalo have always had quirky things. Like, they pulled out the Kayn mid, the 𝘁𝗀ista mid, and as well. They had Sion mid earlier. Notice a lot of these are froggy, but 𝗀𝗀 does have some weird stuff and has done some weird stuff before. Kayn he plays Kayn as well. Kayn is a flex pick.
Kayn is not weird.
No, it was a weird pick for the meta. Like, yes, it's a jungler, but hey, Amumu's a jungler. That's about that sort of.
True.
So it's just them going for some weird stuff isn't out of the question, or like a throw in the towel of conceding we are not as good as GAM, but it is this in particular has really just thrown me. But yeah, we've seen Levi, he's looking to make something happen, but sees the ward disappear, knows that even if Hasmet does break his recall, he's probably going to be safe, so just sort of going to wander around his jungle and wait for the next thing to spawn, which happens to be 𝘀cie.
𝘁𝗀𝗀 was having a little think about going in for a play, but now there's been a ward and 𝘁𝗀𝗀 stepped up too far. The exhaust is cleansed away. 𝘁𝗀𝗀 trying to get a kill.
Why did you?
𝘁𝗀𝗀 not even needed. 𝘁𝗀𝗀 steals it away. Of course you want your kills on your Lux.
I mean, yeah, I'm just... Oh, but keeps continuing his 𝘁𝗀𝗀, finds the Q, but... yeah, there's no real follow-up. I'm a little perplexed as to why 𝘁𝗀𝗀 hit the cleanse.
I think he thought he could get enough damage onto Shogun to get a kill, so wanted to cleanse the exhaust.
Maybe, but yeah, in the end. But the cleanse came out like a second before he died, so I don't know. Anyway,
Well, don't get me wrong, I think it was a terrible cleanse, but yeah.
Mistake, but hey, he knew to save the flash, and that is the key thing. In the end, it's a first blood. It goes over to 𝘁𝗀𝗀. It's a 2v2 kill. Pressure of 𝘁𝗀𝗀 made it happen, but he didn't actually get any rewards from it. But 𝘁𝗀𝗀 is coming up now. Levi is getting collapsed on along with
Okay,
𝘁𝗀𝗀.
𝘁𝗀𝗀𝗀. Oh no, he misses the bandage toss. Hasmet on his way down. We've got a teleport coming in from 𝘁𝗀𝗀. A 4v3, but 𝘁𝗀𝗀𝗀 just gets popped. He's playing Amumu, but he wasn't able to proc the aftershock, so it all goes terribly wrong. And now B trying to join into the fray, but it doesn't matter. 𝘁𝗁𝗵𝗶𝗹𝗀 turn the fight around, and they get 2 kills for 1.
And it's because the bot lane roams first from Buffalo. They are there. They're able to collapse onto the play and actually be involved. Where GAM's bot lane is just shoving the mid lane. Well, bot lane, sorry, rather. But it's a good start out from GAM. But 𝘁𝗀𝗀𝗀 not being 6 means that the overchase just isn't actually going to result in much. They don't have the CC to lock them down. It's a plate. It's a plate onto 𝘁𝗀𝗀𝗀, but hello, Froggy teleport.
Oh, the flash nether grasp. The trap is put down. Shogun picks up the kill, and 𝘁𝗀𝗀𝗀, that's twice now he's overstepped.
And this starts off very well for Levi and the side of GAM. You find that you get the teleport in first. It's a very good collapse. 𝘁𝗀𝗀𝗀 dies instantly. But 𝘁𝗀𝗀𝗀's going so hard, and you see the damage from Cardi, which makes it feel right. But without that level 6, that Cyclone, they can't actually lock down any of the other kills, so they've just ended up being way too far forward. Shogun is able to come up and crack out the damage, and that's an easy pickup. 2 kills over to the side of SGB for the 1.
And again, Levi having another look towards this top side of the map. Hasmet just staying so far back, just poking with the empowered shock blasters. Again, 𝘁𝗀𝗀𝗀 dies. 0 and 3 on this Aphelios, just getting abused by Shogun and 𝘁𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 on this Caitlyn Lux duo.
And then, I mean, it's really hard for 𝘁𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 if a single piece of if the root lands, there's follow-up damage that can just come out from the side of SGB. We still have the Caitlyn auto resets for the headshot combo, so you can just crank out so much damage and pop 𝘁𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 instantly if the root lands, and there's nothing he can do about it. His cleanse is still on CD, and that's exactly how you want to play out this lane. It's a kill lane.
So far, it's been really good for the side of 𝘁𝗁𝗵𝗶𝗹𝗀. The Malzahar's done work with a flash nether grasp. The Amumu's done, well, to be honest, if it was another jungler apart from Amumu, it probably would have had similar impact. But so far, so good for 𝘁𝗁𝗵𝗶𝗹𝗀. But we saw this as well in game 1 where they were able to get a lead. And here is how 𝘁𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 died.
Yeah, everything into everything. The root into the trap, into the net. I don't know, but honestly, it wouldn't have mattered.
Maybe not. I didn't see a shield pop up, so maybe it was just same timing and the shield just got blown up as soon as it got applied.
But we see... Yeah, nothing. We don't see anything, really. just setting up around this Rift Herald. 𝘀𝘀 has made his roam up. He is not happy with this, how this lane is going. Can't say I blame him. But they're gonna really try and make sure they get this, because if Buffalo walks away with this, that they can really snowball the Caitlyn Hen, just start melting towers across the entire map. And here comes BJ.
Ace in the hole, tanked by Levi, trying to turn this around with the Moonlight Vigil. They're able to get one. Nethergrass comes through. 𝘁𝗏 on the back line. What can he do? Not really too much. It's a 2-for-1. GAM out on top, but the health bars are low, and they are forced to retreat. Able to secure the Rift Herald as well. So all good for GAM.
What did 𝘁𝗏 do that fight? Like, he was in a perfect position to just wail on 𝘀𝗏 on the backline, but he decides to just run through the team fight and do nothing after getting some pretty good damage down. He then goes, yeah, all right, that's enough for me. I'm gonna just walk through the middle of everyone. It's weird.
I mean, to be fair, have you seen how many damage items 𝘁𝗏 has?
Sure, but he was completely ignored on the backline and he was still pumping out damage because Rise base damages are pretty high, especially because they scale off mana. So he has one damage item.
True. Okay, I'll give you that one. He also had a corrupting potion, which I guess counts as damage.
Sure.
And the lost chapter, if anyone's thinking, oh, but he's got a lost chapter, he just picked that up off the base. It wasn't there for the fight. Okay, 𝘁𝗶𝗶.
Yeah.
Can you please explain to me how Saigon Buffalo were up like 2,000 gold, but they've given away a Rift Herald, and now they're giving away the first Drake of the game? This doesn't feel right.
Yeah, so they were a bit slow into getting onto the Rift Herald, as it's just a bit of a fight of the Rift Herald. It's over before it begins in terms of that. But look, 𝘁𝗏's just ignored here. And he's able
I think
to
𝘀𝗀
just
would run him down
damage.
otherwise.
I mean, he could have gotten another rotation off onto 𝘀𝗏, I'm fairly certain. And even if you're scared, why run through the whole team? Wrap around the back. It's just confusing. I don't get it. I don't understand.
Strength in numbers, herd movement. I think that maybe that's what 𝘁𝗏 was thinking. I don't know. Probably the wrong decision, but I can kind of empathize with his decision making there, I think is the term I'd use.
Anyway, it's alright. As for how they lost so much objectives, they've just been a little bit. They have really strong pressure in a couple of lanes at a time, but they aren't consolidating it with any vision. 𝘀𝗏 isn't really going out and getting many wards down. It's very light on the vision for them, but that's given GAM opportunities to actually group up and just try and force the objectives. They won the health bar lead in the trade around the Rift Herald as well, getting that kill. So they were able to sort of have priority on that dragon as well. So they picked up 2 objectives pretty much for free. That's sort of how you bring the gold back into spitting distance. It's still only about a K and a bit. So yeah, you're happy as GAM. You definitely aren't super worried about how this 𝘀𝗶𝗶 was gonna go, but because you have this Rise scaling up as well. You have an 𝘀𝗶𝗶 as well who can do a lot in the late game. So you're not really too worried about that being super tanky that you can't punch through.
Okay, 𝘁𝗏's able to snipe onto Levi. Shogun making his way as well. It's a good slow from the Glitter Lance of B. And it means that GAM are going to be able to retreat. Saigon Buffalo, though, they still have a 1,500 gold lead. Nearly 2,000. Shogun just pushing in the mid lane. Tower plate still a thing for another 1.5 minutes.
Yep, and that's Rise going to collect on the top side as they try and use the Caitlyn and 𝘀𝗏 to just farm the mid lane. They weren't able to get that combo in. Here comes Levi.
Oh, there's a Realm Warp. That's on Shogun, who's forced to flash over the wall to be able to get his way out to safety. A Rift Herald has been dropped, and 𝘁𝗀, I think he was trying to be able to proc the eye, but he's forced out. Don't know if he's going to be able to make his way back in. Do Saigon Buffalo want to take this fight? Call of the Void, Nether Grasp is dropped down, but it's onto Levi, who's able to turn things around. The Cyclone comes through. 𝘁𝗏 will fall. So we see the Malzahar just flashing out of the Cataclysm after going golden. 𝘀𝗏 on the run. Hazmed over the wall. 𝘀𝗀 falls. It's 3 kills going the way of Saigon Buffalo. Double kill for Hazmed, as Saigon Buffalo can now just push in this mid lane and maybe even get a few more plates.
They overforce Levi and 𝘀cie push too far forward again and are just trapped in the AoE that comes out of SGB. It looks alright, but 𝘀cie is really low and he just gets completely caught out by the Lux. And then Levi, yeah, he's separated from the team. There's nothing he can really do. And that means the backline's open. Because the front line has just wasted their lives and found themselves out of position, it gives HusMed that free Q into the backline, and that blows up 𝘀cie, blows up 𝘁𝗏. It's a huge fight win for SGB. This is starting to look like they have the ability to run away with it, but it's GAM, so you can't 100% count them out yet. We're gonna have to look for at least the shield bow on the Aphelios before we really start talking about GAM actually having options, but because yeah, they're struggling in the carry department. That's where the problems are really showing up for GAM.
The thing that I don't get about GAM's decision making is they were behind in gold going into that fight. Aphelios Lulu against a Caitlyn Lux in a fight. Caitlyn Lux is always going to come out on top. A Ryze against a Malzahar, even this early in a game, I'd rather have the Malzahar.
Yeah.
And even the Jace against the Wukong, I'd still rather have a Jace at this point with the Eclipse versus Divine Sunderer.
Yeah, at this point in the game, for sure, a lot of the champs are just fairly more self-sufficient on the side of SGB, have the higher base damages to work with. The range in particular on the side of SGB make it extremely hard for GAM to really push in and make things happen. So they almost have to kind of sit back and wait for Buffalo to come to them, which feels really rough. Because you saw that's how they sort of had the advantage around the Rift Herald. That's how they found it. Pretty much all their advantages. But compared when they're trying to make the moves, it's Buffalo is able to keep the engage from GAM at bay because it's not strong enough. It's not an Ornn ultimate. It's not a Malphite ultimate. It's just your best is a Wukong, but that Wukong is still kind of squishy at this point.
As you said, once 𝘀cie gets that Immortal Shield Bow, once 𝘁𝗏 starts picking up a few items, all of a sudden you start to see GAM's way back into this game. But at the moment, Saigon Buffalo in the driving seat. Over 3,000 gold ahead. Well, pretty much 4,000 gold ahead at the moment. Although, as I say that, 𝘀cie is able to pick up a tower in the bottom lane, and that'll feed a bit of gold back towards the GAM top lane.
But here's the Rift Herald in the mid. That should be popping that tower open fairly easily. And there's not really a response that GAM can make, and there's just great wave control from SGB. They've shoved in, they're playing off this top side very well. They're losing a bit on the bot side, but it's not a problem for them. Sure, it's gonna get Wukong a little bit back into it, but that's quite honestly the least of your problems at this point. You're not that terrified of the Wukong because he can jump in and then either gets 𝗀𝗀 ultimate, you get the knockback from HusMed, you have the 5-man shield from 𝘁𝗏. You have a lot of things to deal with that Wukong. But yeah, you're looking for a few things. You're looking for a QSS somewhere along the line as well. You have to pay your tax. It's really rough for GAM when you're behind and you have to pay the tax. That's what you don't want.
And if you get greedy and you don't pay the tax, then you might be finding yourself even further behind. And some mistakes that sometimes we see. Zanzaro would be very disappointed if the tax is not paid.
Pay the tax, man. It's very simple. It
goes
goes towards the community.
Yeah. Or it goes towards Boris.
Well, yeah, that one does. Boris is the community. He's the only community in League of Legends. It's a very weird economic system. It's a monopoly, actually. Really, it's kind of rude.
I think GAM might be having a monopoly in the top lane. The ult is dropped onto Levi. He's going to be able to get the flag and drag. All of this was to buy time for a teleport, but a teleport got cancelled by 𝘀cie, who used the Cyclone.
He's going to pay for it.
I think he will pay for it. 𝗀𝗀 he's got the flash as well if he wants to go in. Okay, 𝘀cie gonna dash out, but another shock blast, and 𝘀cie is dead. Okay, tanked by the decoy, but yeah, okay, he's forced to go towards 𝗀𝗀, and HusMed will end up picking the kill. On the top side, though, Levi and 𝘁𝗏 were able to pick up the outer tower.
Yeah, so overall, it's a positive play for GAM. You do sacrifice 𝗀𝗀 in the process, not 𝗀𝗀, 𝘀𝗏 in the process. But hey, Monkey has to fill his role, and you got a better shove in the mid lane as well. Got a better chip damage onto that out turret, which is a big prize to take if you can grab it. And now, but with that mid tower down, you've got a bit of farm funneling all your way into 𝘀𝘀, who kind of needs it. He's a little bit behind. I mean, not as behind as certain other players in this game in terms of farm, but it's an okay move from 𝘀𝘀, just trying to punch onto the 𝗀𝗏, but he's not really the damage that's going to come out in this dive. It's all 𝘁𝗀𝗏, that's the problem. So, or at the very least, you could have tried to wait until someone had taken aggro, so they're just stuck on the tower, eating the ult and the aggro of the tower, but didn't happen. Bit of a shame. Dies for free. The only reason it's a trade back at all is because 𝘁𝗏 didn't want the teleport to come through from Heartsmed and traded his life for that.
Actually, does the root from 𝘁𝗏's W and Rise cancel 𝘀𝗀 ult? It shouldn't, right?
No, because it's not a stun.
Okay. Well, now it makes sense why he ulted onto 𝘁𝗏 instead of 𝘁𝗏, because I guess if you ult onto 𝘁𝗏, there's a risk that you get popped as 𝘀𝘀. Well, the only reason he's not popped is because the wild growth was available from B, who, in fairness, also had a heal as well, but that is an ultimate down that is a cleanse down from the GAM bottom lane.
Yeah, there's just so much poke damage that comes out of this bot lane from SGB. There's 𝘀𝗀 already powered onto her Ludens. None of this baby support 𝘀𝗀. None of this moonstone crap. We're going full burst, baby.
I like it. I'm down for it. I want to see Horizon focus next.
Yeah.
Maybe throw in a Cosmic Drive, Zhonya's, Rabadon's. Who knows?
Well, in the meantime, there's going to be a bit of a trade in terms of top laners taking out of turrets. That's going to be a bit of gold into their pockets. That's all well and good. 600 gold is nothing to be sneezed at, and you especially want your items on your 𝘁𝗏 to make him a tanky boy. He is going to maybe get collapsed on by 𝘀𝘀, but it turns out no, 𝘀𝘀's just more interested in handing off this blue buff to the 𝘀𝗏, as SGB also on the other side take the first.
And this means that GAM won't be able to get onto Soul Point, and actually the first time today where we don't have a Cloud Soul. I'm happy about that. Also, can we just point out, with a composition with a Caitlyn, a Jace, a 𝘀𝗏, getting Infernal Drakes, getting an Infernal Soul, that's pretty juicy if you're a Saigon fan.
Yeah, it's very juicy. There's a lot of damage, and you'll set up to get that 4-stack if it goes that late. So that's a lot of extra AD on these carries, especially the Caitlyn, who wants to be stacking as much flat AD as she can anyway to maximize that headshot damage. So if she gets a 4-stack Infernal, that's a healthy amount of damage. It's gonna hurt.
So I'm just quickly checking up some stats. Okay, would you like to give a guess as to how many times Amumu Jungle has been played in Season 11?
I'm gonna take a wild guess and say once. Right now.
Wrong. Never. Not in this split.
Yeah, once. Right now.
Oh yeah, okay, fine. Would you like to guess how many times Amumu Jungle has been played in its entirety?
Oh man, I don't know how far back those stats go, because if it includes like really, really old,
it goes all the way back to Season 4.
Okay, so since Season 4, I would probably. It might have gotten a game here or there in one of the minor leagues, or there might have been a weird patch. I don't remember where it was actually good, but I'm still gonna say on the side of caution, say none.
13 games, a 15% win rate. So 2 wins out of the 13 games, and it was won by Juhan and Beyond. In fact, 𝘁 and 𝘀𝗏 both played games on it, and 𝘁 lost 2 games, 𝘀𝗏 lost 1. So yeah, the first time in quite a while that we've seen Amumu. I think this might be the first time since about Season 7 or something.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. I forgot all about 𝘁's tenure in the jungle, but it's a catch onto 𝘁𝗏. His
It
tenure
is.
in the jungle's over.
His tenure's in the jungle's over, but that's a Cyclone. 𝘁𝗀 is taken down low. 𝘀𝗀 will fall as well. 𝘁𝗀 going back in, but it's got to turn back around in favor of Saigon Buffalo. 𝘁𝗀, though, so healthy. 𝘁𝗀 and 𝘁𝗀 just can't step forward. And GAM, I think that's a favorable fight for them. They get a 2-for-2, and they've got the better looking health bars.
That's a huge fight, but look at how much healing 𝘁𝗀 is getting done. He's already back to nearly full. He just needs to land a few more autos, and that range advantage is always scary. Oh, it's tense.
Oh, 𝘁𝗀's going on Ducati. As we go into a replay, just when a fight's breaking out, we're getting trolled by VETV here. Here's how the fight all started off.
Yeah, it's a pick onto Levi, but they clump up beautifully for 𝘁𝗀 to get massive 3-man ultimates. And 𝘁𝗀 is doing no damage to 𝘁𝗀, by the way, because in this scenario, this is a time where you have no excuse to be building Collector. Just you're up against a pure tank. Just build the Dominics. It's okay, but yeah. So he wasn't doing very much damage to 𝘁𝗀, which is a problem because he's gonna be the one in your face. There's also, not to mention, the played as 𝘁𝗀𝗋 and potentially a Death Stance or GA at the very least coming out on the side of Jace. So hey, build the armor pen. It's good. But overall, they won the fight. They got the tower. That's a fantastic gold injection to the side of GAM. They have brought it back to 3,000 gold and a bit. So they are still very happy and can try and make something happen. They had a little hunt in, but it's not going to amount to anything. Dragon up in 30 seconds. Maybe we see something show up there.
3k gold lead to the side of Saigon Buffalo, and we talked about the infernal stacking on a 𝘀𝗀, on a 𝘁𝗀, on a Jace. Going to be so influential. And I still think, right now, 𝘀𝗶𝗶, don't you think it's really cute that 𝘁𝗀 and 𝘁𝗀 have the same KDAs? And they've had the same KDAs for quite a while as well.
Yeah, they've been very good at making sure they pair off kills, and big stinky mean man 𝘁𝗀 comes from the top lane and steals all their actual kills, so they can only be supports. They try their best, they build the Luden's Echo, but they still only get assists. It's just not fair.
No, support life isn't fair. However, Drake life isn't fair either. You're confined to a pit, and you have to wait for people to attack you before you can hit them back. And Saigon Buffalo will have priority for the Drake. GAM do not want to fight this. They do not want to contest this. They want to just keep on scaling for now.
GAM, yeah, not looking to have an actual fight. They probably don't want to fight again, really, until the Aphelios has his Infinity Edge, can actually start putting damage into the 𝘁𝗎𝗓. But they tried to sneak it away. It was fair effort. They got away before any harm actually came to them. So in the end, nice attempt. Tried to be a bit sneaky, didn't work, and it's an easy pickup for the side of BJ and Buffalo. But in response, Levi's going to take all your jungle. He's happy about that. He's got 40 CS.
BJ gets the neutral objective of the 𝘁𝗀𝗋. So who's the real winner here? Yeah, it's Levi.
Yeah. I mean, look,
I have been informed as well by 𝘁𝗀 that apparently GAM are currently on a 9-game winning streak.
Yep.
They lost 5 games in a row, and then they've won all of their games after that point. So that 2-1 win, they lost the first game before coming back. So we'll see whether GAM can continue the win streak or not.
Yeah, well, it's going very well for them so far. They have... Well, I mean, it's not so far. They are behind by 4k. It's... Or 3k, rather, sorry. It's... So... You know, it's not the best of situations, but they aren't out of it. They have been holding on quite well. They are slowly getting the gold onto their big carries. They just need to pay a few more taxes, and especially in the, say, the Wukong department, maybe J4 as well. And those two can, so they don't have to worry as much about getting knocked off when they fly in and try and take out 𝘁𝗀. But 𝘁𝗀, yeah, he's slowly building up. He's got 2 out of 3 components, building his way up to that Infinity Edge, which is the signal that GAM is probably looking for to say, yeah, we can actually start contesting now.
Speak about signals, Saigon Buffalo starting to think about going for the Baron, and GAM saying, I think Saigon Buffalo's there. Let's just drop a blue ward. They will drop it, or grant momentary vision of 𝘀𝗰𝗶𝗹𝗀 backing away from the Baron. When do GAM take that fight?
So flash off Levi and flash off Froggy. That's pretty big, but Froggies will be back up sooner thanks to runes and choice of boots, and they're going to take this opportunity to start up the Baron. But look at the bot lane. What are you doing, 𝘁𝗍, you mad lad?
𝘁𝗍's just trying to get a tower, but the Baron has already been secured. Final spark is dropped. Levi will go golden. Can he get out of the pit? No, he can't. Froggy's going to be able to pick up the kill. All the while, 𝘁𝗍's still split pushing in the bottom lane. 𝘁𝗍, I think, wants to be able to cancel the recalls, but unable to do so. And 𝘁𝗍 will only be able to get the inhibitor tower. The inhibitor still stands in the bottom lane for 𝘀𝗰𝗶𝗹𝗀.
That is... yeah, that's not worth it. 𝘁𝗍, I think if they had 5 members up there, they could have actually gone for a real contest, but instead you have Levi going for the steal attempt. It doesn't work, so he feeds his life away, and you only really get the 1 tower in response, and it's not a tower that gives you gold. It's an inhibitor. It's just it's going to let your bot lane push, but your bot lane's not going to be able to get much push going against these Baron minions. And we've mentioned in draft, SGB have very good siege because Caitlyn can just stand 5 miles away and hit your tower, and you can't do a damn thing about it.
Yeah, the siege potential for the side of 𝘀𝗰𝗶𝗹𝗀 is great, and if anyone from GAM overextends, then Froggy just presses the R button. 𝘁𝗍 can catch people out as well. It's going to be really difficult for GAM to be able to try to clear these waves. It's pretty much all going to be on 𝘁𝗍, actually.
Yeah, it's going to be really rough because you do have the blue gun, which means you have a little bit of wave clear on the side of 𝘀𝗀 for a while, which is going to be quite useful up against the Baron. But sidestepping everything there. Good job.
He just stepped up to 3 minions in 𝘀𝗰𝗶𝗹𝗀, say, here are 2 ults and an empowered shock blast to deal with.
Yeah, they do not like this man, and 𝘁𝗍's given up on his team, I believe. Just hanging out of the bot lane. AFK,
Moonlight Vigil did nothing.
Rage splitting. Yeah, that was probably the wrong one, I have to say. If you shoot the blue one, you maybe get some fun stuff happening. Maybe you chunk someone out enough that they are actually forced to back off and you get some pressure back on the map. But nope, shoots the red. He's already on full health, so it actually doesn't do a goddamn thing.
They're all trying to find out where the Rise is, but the Rise is already on the other side of the map with the Realm Warp. There's an Infernal Drake. No Realm Warp available for 𝘁𝗍. He does have the teleport, but GAM are going to have to give this one away. And I'm very happy about that, because it means one thing. GAM have to fight in 5 minutes' time.
Yeah, they do. Honestly, they should have been fighting around that Baron, but they should have been fighting a lot more. But as they'd have the Infinity Edge now, it's gonna be... This is now the time where GAM should be feeling vaguely comfortable to fight, but it's still just... why? You've given up so much on the map, you've given up so many neutrals that SGB are just going to be so hard to punch through in this next fight, and it's going to be a rough one for GAM. Can they pull it off? Maybe? They are good, but I don't know.
I want to talk about items, because I think item breakpoints are very important in this game, and I want to take a look at where everyone's going to be in 5 minutes, because Froggy's going to have a Rabadon's, 𝘁𝗍's going to have a Zhonya's. We've got a fight happening, though, in the top lane. Levi's actually going to be able to find the kill onto 𝘁𝗀, and it's going to be a second kill as well. Froggy goes golden, but he will die as soon as he comes out. 𝘀𝗰𝗶𝗹𝗀 not respecting the collapse potential from the side of GAM. And now GAM have 5 members strong, pushing forward. 𝘀𝗀's going to be back on full HP, and 𝘀𝗰𝗶𝗹𝗀 have to be careful not to throw the game right now.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to amount to too much. There's just so much poke that still comes out of this bot lane. They have a lot of wave clear as well. The Lux ult is just coming back off cooldown soon, so they can instantly delete a wave. Yeah, but it's a good go from GAM. Just picking off 𝘁𝗀, keeping him trapped in the Cataclysm, and turning instantly on Froggy. He can't get...
We've got fights happening. 𝘀𝗰𝗶𝗹𝗀 aren't able to clear the waves right now. GAM are just going fully in. 𝘁𝗀 is forced to flash away. 𝘁𝗀 doing a fantastic job of zoning. 𝘀𝗀's going to be able to find one. Light Binding's going to be able to clip onto 𝘁𝗀. He will flash out of the base and out to safety. 𝘀𝘀 finding a fair amount of work onto
Here
BJ
comes
Shogun
Harsmed.
on the chase. Harsmed, as you mentioned, on the flank to the skies over the wall. Shorty's going to wait to use the blast cone over. No. 𝘀𝗰𝗶𝗹𝘀 don't overly force. Final spark is going to spot out 𝘀𝘀. Ace in the hole. We'll get the shutdown for Shogun. All the while, Harsmed just by time and the damage. 𝘁𝗏 will get taken down as well. Sniped by 𝘁𝗏. And 𝘀𝗰𝗶𝗹𝘀 turn it all around. And here is how it all started with a realm warp.
They just commit so hard onto BJ, but there's no point, and it doesn't matter. But yeah, they try so hard to kill BJ. He's just too tanky at the moment. You don't have the means to punch through him. And now, with these death timers, yeah, it's not going to be quite enough, but it's going to be just more gold into the side of SGB, finishing up these items. What was that, GAM? You were doing so well, but you just got 𝘁𝗶𝗶𝗹𝗀. You didn't need to do that. You didn't need to do that!
Oh, dearie me. You know what that's like? That's like when you're eating some cereal and you get some lovely cereal. It's all great, but you get too greedy. You try to have too much cereal. You get to the bottom of the packet where it's just the crumbs. It comes out into the bowl and it just ruins your breakfast entirely. GAM just biting off a bit much.
Alright, we're gonna actually get the
replay for real. Wait, 𝘁𝗏 wasn't there.
Oh no, you need 𝘁𝗏 because again
it's his realm warp as well.
Yeah, but you really need 𝘁𝗏 because he's the only one that can actually damage BJ.
Oh, 𝘁𝗏.
𝘁𝗏 surviving on barely anything is just unfortunate on their side. But
if 𝘁𝗏 gets
it's Baron again,
this doesn't happen.
It's Baron again for the side of SGB, and it's game over. It's lights out.
Yep. That's a double kill for Shogun. And for 𝘀𝗰𝗶𝗹𝘀, a final spark comes through. It lands on it to 𝘁𝗏's clone. It's 1 minute to Drake. GAM want to stay in this river. They want to do everything they can to secure the Drake, but 𝘀𝗰𝗶𝗹𝘀 don't even have to care. They can just keep pushing in the mid lane. You've got to defend your base.
Yeah, 𝘁𝗏's just trying to play damage control, try and play stop the bags. He's not actually able to do it, so report him. But it shouldn't actually matter because SGB is so far ahead. They have the Baron. There's 4-3. That's just... It's going to take a miracle from 𝘁𝗏 and 𝘁𝗏 to actually get things done. But they can't get in. It's just...
They go in, Nether Grasp, but locks down 𝘁𝗏. And just when GAM had a glimpse of hope, 𝘀𝗰𝗶𝗹𝘀 take that hope and they stomp it out completely as they take us to game 3.
Oh my god. Okay, so Amumu Jungle just won. Amumu Jungle just won in VCS.
Just to follow up on that stat, Amumu Jungle had been played in Season 10, 3 games. Yuhan won the only game. Sharp and Mart, I have no idea who those players are, both lost the game.
Yeah. Honestly,
I don't even know who Yuhan is. He played for a team called OZ Gaming.
I never heard of it. Probably some minor region I don't watch, but it's I'm just amazed. I'm flabbergasted.
Oh, 𝘀𝗚liche Challenger League.
And there you go.
No,
you have to see. You have to. What happened in that game? It was just sort of GAM getting picked off all around. That bot lane too strong. And
now, what we'll do, I think, is we'll jump into a break. We'll work out what happened. And then when we come back from a break, we'll enlighten our viewers and try to look really smart as we explain the game. So, folks, stay tuned. We'll be back in a minute. Welcome back, everyone. It looks like we're going to be having 6 games today. 𝘀𝗏cie took down Team Secret with a 2-1 win in our first series. And here for our second series, 𝘀𝗰𝗶𝗹𝘀 are going to make GAM go the distance if they want to take a win. 𝘀𝗏cie, 𝘀𝗰𝗶𝗹𝗀, unconventional draft, Caitlyn Lux, bottom lane, Amumu Malzahar. But they made it work.
Yeah, I mean, they did convert pretty well on the early lead that they did have. But honestly, I feel like that it was more GAM losing the game rather than Buffalo taking the victory in the end. 𝘁𝗂, the Rise ult that he just didn't take, probably would have won the game for them. And that mistake at this level, when you're trying to contest for the top spots, is pretty bad. I mean, yeah, upsetting.
Yeah, it's the 𝘁𝗰𝗶𝗹𝗀 pick that kind of wanted the game in the worst way, in that it wasn't because it wasn't a 𝘁𝗰𝗶, it was just a tank, and because 𝘁𝗂 doesn't take the realm warp, and because there's a collector on the 𝘀𝗃𝗃, no one can actually kill the 𝘁𝗰𝗶 under tower, therefore they just all die.
And he didn't take the realm warp because he was chasing the 𝘁𝗰𝗶, so the 𝘁𝗰𝗶 pick was 5-head. That's why it worked. Okay.
It was calculated. The entire game up to that point was known.
Just tilt them off the face of the earth by picking a 𝘁𝗃𝗃. It's a foolproof strategy.
Camera.
So with that, 𝘀𝗰𝗋, these are two teams who are battling for third. 𝘁𝗀𝗁 1 game behind GAM. If 𝘁𝗁 win this, they are tied in the battle for third place, and playoffs just gets that little bit closer.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, you've got to be thinking, do they have the mental advantage going into this next game? Because it was sort of, I mean, it's sort of upsetting if you're the side of GAM with how close it was.
Yeah.
And, you know, as GAM, that's your first loss in 9 games.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a rough one to lose as well. When you were that close, you know, you were within touching distance of getting to the 10th, moving on to the next series, and yeah, now you're fighting to even win one more game, because, you know, with the way that Buffalo have been drafting, it could be an interesting one.
And 𝘁𝗶𝗶, heading into this game, we also have to remember as well what the strong picks were from that first series, and by that I'm mainly looking over towards this 𝘀𝗀cian.
Yeah, we definitely sort of look. That 𝘀𝗀cian pick was huge for 𝘀𝗀, and I think more importantly, more specifically, is getting that good lane matchup. Like the Jinx and the Lulu, I believe, if I remember correctly, did have good lane.
No, Jinx Thresh.
No,
Jinx Thresh, yeah. Oh no, I'm talking about game 1, but yeah, Jinx 𝘀𝗏, thank you.
Okay.
It was it had the lane priority and it was doing well there, but it wasn't able to just completely dominate the lane like the Caitlyn did, and that has been removed from the hands of Shogun, and I think that's fair. That's exactly what you want. 𝘀𝗀cian has also been banned, but they're just going to put 𝘁𝗂 onto the kill button. That is Vex, and it worked very well last time. Maybe SGB's flank this time.
Yeah. Was the Vex banned in game 2?
Game 2, yes.
Yes, it was. It was banned simply because they just don't have flash button installed on the side of Buffalo to dodge the Vexar, so they have to ban that. But looks like they've left it open this game. So are they going to pick the Lissandra into it? Looks like Jin's hovered for the time being, but I didn't mind the Jinx Nami pick that they had last time. I just think it was, you have to be able to dodge the Vexar, because that's the whole kit of the champion. So see how it's going now. Looks like Viego Jhin.
Well, maybe in game 2, 𝘁𝗶𝗶, the flash buttons were reinstalled on the side of 𝘁𝗀𝗁. We saw the Viego from B&J in game 1, and he had a decent performance on it.
Yeah, so it's actually going to be not fairly awesome move from 𝘀𝗀ci𝗰𝗶 going for the Tristana, sort of looking to do an equivalent of what the Caitlyn was trying to do in terms of going for the like tower play farming, not so much the poke variety, but you have that big all in. You can, I think they're going back to that game 1 style of just throw everything at the enemy team and just run it down at them. And is that being mid?
Surely not. Oh no, salty run back. Oh, salty run back. Okay, 𝘀𝗏𝗀. LeBlanc. Oh, sorry, not LeBlanc. Lissandra into Vex. We saw it in game 1. It didn't work. Do you think it was an issue with the champion, or do you think 𝘀𝗀ci𝗰𝗏 misplayed it, and can he play it better for this series, for this game?
I think it was just the 𝘀𝗀ci𝗰𝗏 misplaying it. I think it's okay into the matchup. I think it's just a matter of being able to, like, Vex's problem is that she's very squishy when she gets CC'd, and you can chain it very easily on her. But, you know, you have to be able to hit it at the right times. Obviously, you can't hit it while she's flying in an R, or better, you dodge the R. I think in the first time when they played this matchup, 𝘀𝗀ci𝗰𝗏 went too deep with Lissandra instead of peeling for the back line, which was the problem. Maybe in this lineup she might not have to when you have the Jhin that can fire from far away, but we should see how the rest of the draft turns out to see if that's going to be the win con.
And Harvey, we've seen this. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, and hopefully, sort of, you're looking for that counter pick for Husmid, so that you don't need to rely on Shogun being your big damage threat like he was on the Jinx. So, yeah, we're gonna have to see how they round this out.
And we can see 𝘀𝗰𝗵𝗶𝗹𝗀 going for this team fight composition, Marby, but GAM banning away the likes of the Kennen, the Graga, some of these engage tools, or in the sense of Kennen, big team fight champs.
Yeah, that's definitely sort of where you want to go. Especially with this composition, you need something that can round out and really set up the resets from 𝘀𝗀𝗰𝗋 in particular, and of course working with the Lissandra passive sort of set up that snowball chain. So in that sense, maybe you could even run something like an assassin type thing, like the Akali, depending on the matchup, of course. But I'm very interested to see where this is going to go for Levi. I would like to see something sort of hyper flexible like the Lee Sin that can do a little bit of everything, but just
oh, okay.
Just
it's 𝘀𝗀𝗰𝗶𝗹𝗀 back.
Following up for that
again.
So, Gizmo, thoughts? We saw the Zac from Levi in game 1. It worked out. Okay, Levi's Zac was not great in game 1.
I mean, it was okay. It did what it needed to do, right? It went in deep and it pulled people off of the Vex focus and stuff. But I mean, it wasn't the hero of game 1 compared to the Vex. So would have rather see him like pivot into like the J4 hero or something. But yeah, I mean, if you're gonna play nearly the same comp, might as well just go back to the Zac.
Now, we've also got a Rel. Do either of you want to hazard a guess as to how many times Rel has been picked so far in the winter split?
I think it's been picked at least once, but
I'm gonna say once as well. Yeah.
It has one time, actually played by B, and it was a win for GAM.
Yeah,
so
on him.
there you go.
It's a solid pick. It's not a world beater by any means, but it's when you've had a fair few support bans thrown your way, and you want that big engaged team fight ultimate. Yeah, Rel's absolutely the way to go. Even on the side of Buffalo, I'm questioning it. I'm questioning that last pick.
What about you, Gizmo?
I think the Gnar and the Rakan pick sort of throw me off a bit. I don't mind the Rel. I think it's just a bit out of place when you consider what other supports you could take in that place, especially as the team comp. I mean, I love a Blitzcrank. I think it's just such a great upset tool, especially in a competitive game where you can say that the game's never over if you've got a Blitzcrank because you got that miracle hook. But overall, I think Buffalo's got a nicer draft, but it could just be a Vex 1v9 again.
Okay. Well, let's see what 𝘀𝗋𝗋 can pull off. I mean, Marby, if we do go back to that opening game, 𝘀𝗋𝗋 abused 𝘀𝗀𝗋 in the early few levels, had him constantly put under tower. The issue was 𝘀𝗀𝗋 ganking him twice, picking up 2 kills onto 𝘀𝗋𝗋.
Yeah, and I expect to see much the same sort of thing. Hopefully GAM are able to ward it a little bit better and try and keep 𝘀𝗋𝗋 safe. But I wouldn't be shocked to see things along. I wouldn't be shocked to see a very similar sort of setup from the other game of 𝘀𝗋𝗋 just dominating the matchup in the 1v1, but then SGB just constantly throwing things at him in the mid lane, just trying to pick off the mage.
And with that, we are on to the Rift. Thanks again for Gizmo giving his thoughts on the draft. We'll be hearing from Gizmo at the end of this game when either GAM or 𝘀𝗰𝗵𝗶𝗹𝗀 pick up the win. And interestingly enough, whoever takes the win will then be sitting in 3rd place in the VCS or winter split. It is looking like both junglers will be starting on the bottom side, Marby, so we might be seeing some aggression towards the top lane.
Yeah, and I think that makes sense. Top lane's a fairly volatile lane with these two ranged matchups. Yes, Smith is sort of a half and half with the ability to transform, but if you time the gank right onto the mini Gnar, you can absolutely just delete that champion. And I'm gonna have to see how the two top laners match up in terms of wailing on each other, because Hasmed should have the ability to be able to sustain through it a little bit thanks to that Grasp of the Undying and the Doran's Shield, whereas 𝘀cie going just for the Longsword in 3 means he has the ability to actually sort of has to stick with the poke a little bit as the lane progresses. So interested to see where they end up.
For now, the pathing towards the top side, both junglers full clearing their bottom side before heading up, and we're already seeing 𝘁𝗏 being able to push in 𝘀𝗀, dropping a ward on the Raptors and seeing exactly where 𝗀𝗀 is.
Yeah, I mean, meanwhile, it's a little bit rough for GAM. They have no pressure with GAM with B wearing his horses as clothes. He has the flash threat of the flash remount that 𝘁𝗏 has to be a little bit careful of. Then there's the engage.
Speaking of the flash remount, it's a 2-man stun as well. Oh, 𝘁𝗀 flashes out of the knockup. That was beautiful from the GAM ADC.
Beautiful indeed. Cleanses the exhaust as well. Gets the bombs to reset so he can follow Shogun's flash. And it's just a easy kill. 𝘁𝗏 is sticking around, but he has to be a little bit careful. The engage potential is still there from GAM.
That is one of the best level 2 plays from a bot lane I've ever seen.
Yeah. And
it was just so clean.
So clean indeed. Look, just flashes away, and he doesn't even just dodge the knockup. He also dodges the snare, the daily flash. That's the one, and that was just so good. It's the perfect flash. It's a perfect kill. It's a first blood, and it rewards him with a pickaxe and refillable. And they should just dominate this bot lane from here on out.
It's always so important being able to get that first kill in a lane. Engage coming through on the top side. 𝘁𝗀's just taking too much damage. He flashes out. We're going to 𝘀𝗶𝗹𝗀𝗀 form. 𝘀cie flashing over the wall, but I think 𝘁𝗏 might be able to kill him. B is joining into the party. Oh, the teleport's going to be able to keep 𝘁𝗀 alive, but he's going to die anyway. It's going to be a kill for 𝗀𝗀. More fighting happening as 𝗀𝗀 will die, but he's got the kill. He's got the passive as well. I did not know this was an interaction, but 𝘁𝗏 gets the kill. GAM have 3 kills to Buffalo's 1.
Yeah, good response from 𝘁𝗏 holding that teleport to get onto the 𝘀𝗏𝗏. 𝘁𝗏 does still die in the end, but okay, today I learnt 𝘁𝗏 can become 𝘀𝗏.
Where was 𝘀𝗀's teleport to 𝗀𝗀's 𝘀𝗏?
Good question. I mean, honestly, that's fair enough because I think it might have just been another kill anyway, but yeah, it's just ganking at the wrong time. 𝘁𝗏 had more than enough rage bar to sort of keep himself alive and get that transformation. But the big hero is B in the top lane for no reason, but he saves the day. He helps pick up these kills. 𝘁𝗏, of course, getting that teleport.
I mean, both supports were there, right? So you could argue B should have been there.
𝘁𝗏 was late though.
Oh my god, 𝘁𝗀 is flying in, stretching strikes. Hello, 𝘁𝗏! Join the fun, because you're dead. Shogun's gonna fall as well. There was a TP cancelled by the side of SGB, so GAM will just be able to take 2 kills for 𝘁𝗀squat.
Yeah, it's just a really strong play out of GAM. B is so good on getting this rel, being able to actually control when he's actually using that remount and dismount, and he had that up again to catch Shogun and 𝗀𝗀 in the attempt for the counter gank, but yeah, he did commit to stop the teleport, and he's
god, 𝘁𝗏! What? I mean, sure, 𝘁𝗏 didn't attack you, but 𝘁𝗀 flying in, he misses the E, but he lands the stretching strikes, and that's what matters.
Yeah, and that sets up B to run up, get the stun, and then commit the dismount. It's great. Doesn't blow it instantly, which is, it's what you feel like you should do. It's the instinct. But he holds it, and it's able to secure a second kill. On the top side, yeah, look, Hyper is a stupid ability and honestly should be removed. I do not like Nah.
How dare you? How dare you? The 3 hits to be able to proc extra damage is one of the most fundamental parts of League of Legends.
Sure, but does it need to do % health damage and give you a burst of movement speed? Does it?
Yes.
No.
Okay. It doesn't. I mean, do you really need 4 abilities on a champion?
I mean, I mean, Twitch proves that no, you don't. You simply right-click Indy. As the game lags a little bit.
But we are back in. It's a nice healthy lead for the side of GAM at the moment. 2,000 gold ahead. Do you have Rift Herald? No, Rift Herald hasn't spawned yet.
Yet to spawn.
I mean, we've had 7 kills. I thought Rift Herald would be up by now, but we are only 7 minutes into the game. There is a Drake up, and it is a Mountain Drake. And I would like GAM to be able to take the Mountain Drake.
Yeah, it's a very good play from the side of and it would be a good idea from the side of GAM to do that. But you sort of want to consider the Drake on the other side as 𝘀cie is dead.
He is so dead. 𝘁𝗀 is going to be able to get a kill, so we've got a really good case of top side versus bottom side. Who is stronger? I'd say the 2-0 Tristan and Rel.
Yeah, that's going to be really strong, having all that damage down, but they're going to be able to pick up yet another tower plate, and they should be able to easily convert that into a dragon as well. You should be picking that up to counter the Rift Herald, because yeah, that's going to go for free to the side of 𝘁𝗀. They have control of the top side of the map, but my god, this aggression, they've decided, no, we don't necessarily want turrets or neutral objectives. We want your objectives. We want your blue buff. We want your Gromp. They are so aggressive right now, and this could backfire horribly as we see 𝘀𝑺gy lean down that way.
GAM are just taking everything from the side of 𝘁𝗰𝗶𝗹𝘀. We talked about bot side versus top side. This is all on the bottom side, so GAM have the advantage, even if 𝘁𝗀 is not there. B on the run, curtain call. I think B's going to die. He's locked down. He will fall. Stretching strikes come through. 𝘁𝗀 is on the hunt, and this is going to be a 3v4. Even if 𝘁𝗀 joins the party, 𝘁𝗰𝗶𝗹𝘀 have priority for the Drake, and they should be able to pick this one up.
Yeah, all that for a blue buff. It's what I was saying. GAM just committing so hard for it. They might be able to turn it around, though.
Here's Levi. Goodbye, 𝘀𝑺gy. Goodbye, 𝘁𝗀. Goodbye, Mountain Drake.
Alright, look, that made up for it. That made up for it, but yeah. They're just so aggressive. B, what are you? You don't need to do this. You have no backup. And so it's just death. It's just death from here on out. But the key thing is the Lissandra ultimate's used, which makes this next play possible, which we don't get to see. But Levi flies over the wall and does not have to worry about any CC because 𝘀𝑺gy's used. That's the short version.
Yeah.
And
so
𝘁𝗀's still going to get first
break.
Yeah, 𝘁𝗀's still getting first break because he's a Tristana.
Yeah, minions do the work. Okay, so 𝘁𝗀 is fairly far ahead. He's 18 CS up on Shogun, plus he got 5 tower plates.
Yes.
And a few of those were solo tower plates as well.
And
that's
he's
a lot of gold. And he's 2-0-2. Yes. Essentially, he's got a lot of gold. He's going to spend that gold, and he's an entire item ahead of Shogun.
Yes. That is the case. And now he's rotating to the top side with aspirations on getting those turret plates. Will he get them? Probably grab a few. Probably grab a few. That he might have to go up against a Rift Herald. He's got
3.5 minutes.
He's got some time. Has to be a little bit spooky
he's
around.
He's got cleanse, to be fair to him. He's got cleanse, he's got flash, he's got rocket jump. And
now he has a horse.
Yes.
So send the horse in first. It always works. It's generally a good idea. People do not seem to
quote,
care.
Is it 𝘁𝗀 who shouts out to battle? Or is that 𝘁𝗁𝗍?
I don't know, honestly. I think 𝘁𝗀... Okay, we have confirmation it's 𝘁𝗁𝗍, which makes sense. 𝘁𝗀 would probably swear more. But...
Does 𝘁𝗁 talk? I thought he just goes like, yeah. I don't know.
He screams.
He's just like a nutcase.
He screams, he cusses out 𝘁𝗀, which is honestly completely reasonable. That lizard is immortal and yet still runs away. But regardless, we have lots of pressure as the pressure for GAM has completely shifted to the top side, and Shogun has to be careful with Levi charging up that elastic slingshot. Just gonna find 𝘁𝗀 in the meantime.
Levi doesn't care.
Yeah, you don't really have the damage to try and to threaten Levi that much. But now they have the damage to threaten 𝘁𝗀.
Yeah, 𝘀𝗀 is forced to use a Heartbreaker over the wall, and 𝘀𝗀 will return to the top lane where he sees some nice potential plates. He's going to be able to get one, might even go for a second one, but the tower starts attacking him, and 𝘀𝗀 says, I shall return later, but with a minion wave, and I shall beat you up, Mr. Tower.
I shall shoot you and take your gold. Soon, maybe. Not quite now, because 𝘀𝗀 is threatening, but he does actually get it. Hooray! He was in range. But now, 𝘁𝗀.
Okay, this is a 2v3 essentially. Okay, Rift Herald is going to be dropped. Now, 𝘁𝗀 is here as well. The engage comes through with the Magnet Storm. 𝘀𝗀's already down to half HP. He's going to get popped. There's teleports coming in all over the place. And this is 3v4. He's going to turn into a 3v5. But eventually a 5v5. 𝘁𝗀's going to die. But he has the passive available. 𝘀𝗀's got a flash behind 𝘁𝗀. He stays alive. And all the while, 𝘁𝗀 is doing work, trying to get onto the Jin. 𝘁𝗀, elastic slingshotting in. 𝘁𝗀 does not have another instance of the ult available. He's just stepping forward. Shock Blast finds the kill. Shogun survived. I mean, if you can really call that survival, he's on a sliver of health. And that is going to cause some permanent damage, I think. 𝘀𝗀 now, he sees 𝘁𝗀. He says, I see you eating my chickens. I want to have a couple of them. And 𝘁𝗀 says, you know what? Take one. Here's a replay of the fight in the top lane.
𝘀𝗀 completely removed immediately, making this entire thing a 5v4 in the long term, as well as 𝘁𝗀 taken out. And it's just 𝘁𝗀 who is 𝘁𝗀 and 𝘁𝗀, a tale of two top laners, because 𝘁𝗀 gets a huge ultimate into the wall, but is not able to be followed up on by Shogun because 𝘁𝗀 beelines straight for him and knocks him out of the ultimate. Does not let that happen, and 𝘁𝗀 just seals the deal with this snipe. Could have been a double, should have been a double, but it's just the one.
And I want to change our focus over to 𝘁𝗀, because I feel that this has been a much better performance from him on the Zac than what we saw in Game 1. He's actually been ganking, he's been knocking people up, he's been slapping them about, which is what I like to see anyway from the green ball of gloop that is Zac.
Yeah, he's been playing a lot better than he was in the first game. Didn't have that fumble in the other game where he just sort of ran around and did a whole lot of nothing. But this has led to a really effective snowball from GAM. I mean, they have had. He's not been alone in this. The bot lane has just been winning the 2v2 by itself. That has really helped the transfer of power into the jungle, into the mid lane, and now slowly into the top lane as well. As 𝘁𝗀 is caught.
Oh no. 𝘁𝗀 is caught, Shadow Surge comes through, 𝘁𝗀 is popped, and there's another Shadow Surge available, but 𝘀𝗀 again forced to exit. This time, he's not using the Heartbreaker away, he's forced to flash, so it's even worse. I mean, I guess you can do more aggressive plays with a Heartbreaker, and now GAM pushing forward in the mid lane, having secured their second Drake of the game. And we will be having an Ocean Rift, which I think is exactly what GAM would want. 𝘀𝗀 over the wall, and Rocket Jump will take 𝘀𝗀 out to safety. Does so much damage. Goodbye, 𝘀𝗀. Goodbye, Froggy. Goodbye, Shogun. Goodbye, Buffalo.
And
Holy
it's just a slaughter. B and 𝘁𝗀 put him in the bounce house, and 𝘀𝗀, they could spot 𝘀𝗀 the entire time, so he's able to walk away free. And with that health bar, he feels more than comfortable to take that turret down as well. 𝘁𝗀 goes straight into 𝘀𝗀's jungle as well, takes everything away. This is intense from GAM. They are smurfing these fights, and a lot of it, that one in particular, was just down to how good their vision control was. As a bit of a trade of thumbs, bit of a thumb war going on in the top side.
Oh, mate, you just reminded me of Thumb Wars. Those were legendary as a child.
Yeah, but here we see, look, 𝘀𝗀's going for the wraparound, but he's on vision the entire time, so they just know. And a huge knock-up from B, interrupting 𝘁𝗀's entrance into the fight and making him feel completely left out. And then, yeah, 𝘁𝗀 comes on the side to clean that up, but B set it up, B knocked him down. It's all going well, and look at this. 4 kills for each of Vex, Tristana, and honorary Yordle, Rel.
You remember what I was saying in Game 2 about how cute 𝘀𝗀 and B are as a duo, you know, trying to have the same KDA. They're keeping the same kills, and the 𝘁𝗀's like, I want to join it. Let me join it. I want to have 4 kills as well. wonderful to see.
They had to sacrifice the assists and deaths a little bit, but you know. Yeah, you win some, you lose some.
𝘁𝗧𝗏, die, join B in the party. God. ADCs and mid lane sometimes, they're so greedy.
So selfish, honestly.
Yeah.
Just the worst. But yeah, here's going to be a free Rift Herald into this mid lane. If it even the tower lives long enough for it to charge. Oh boy. Can they get it to charge the mid lane? You have to think yes.
This is an 11k lead at 17 minutes. This is the GAM we wanted to see in this series. This is why GAM lost game 2, because they wanted a dominating game. They wanted to prove just how good they can be. And, well, I think they're doing that right now.
Look, they're just really mad they lost to an Amumu, and I can't blame them. As, yeah, they are well on the way to getting a very, very good game, completely shutting them out of towers and other neutral objectives.
𝘁𝗀𝗀, this is not the angle, 𝘁𝗀𝗏, this is not the angle. The counter engage, pop goes 𝘁𝗏𝗏, out screens freeze. They then super fast forward because in goes Levi. 𝘁𝗀𝗀 low, 𝘀𝗀𝗏 low, 𝘁𝗏𝗏 low, 𝘁𝗏𝗏 golden under the tower. Shock Blast not actually going to be able to get the kill onto 𝘁𝗏𝗏. The inner tower will be falling in the bottom lane. And somehow it's a 2-for-2. 𝘁𝗏𝗏𝗏 more than happy with how that panned out. 𝘁𝗏𝗏 and 𝘁𝗏𝗏 both dying, trying to equalize the KDAs with B.
Yeah, here's how it panned out that way, because it was actually however.
We got teleports, we got more plays. Levi getting run down by 𝘁𝗏𝗏. Down goes the Rel. B will fall. 𝘀𝗏𝗏 will fall as well. 𝘁𝗏𝗏 able to pick one up. Now he could potentially look to turn things around onto Shogun and 𝘁𝗏𝗏, but they are both full health, but look is coming from the base. It's 𝘁𝗏𝗏 over the wall to the skies from 𝘁𝗏𝗏 on the run. He's got no more mana left, and it is just going to be the great escape from the GAM top laner.
Can he get to safety? Do they give up? I think it might be the latter.
𝘁𝗏𝗏 wants this. You need to stop chasing now, 𝘁𝗏𝗏.
Yeah, he gets away. 𝘁𝗏𝗏 makes his escape, but here's how it's a trade even for SGB in the initial fight, because it's a 6v5. They send everyone under the tower, and they kind of just have a little fun with it, because
look how much. Oh my God, 𝘁𝗏𝗏 just tanked the 3 tower shots and died.
Yeah. Look how much damage the tower did in that fight. 𝘁𝗏𝗏 has to sacrifice himself to get that shot down onto 𝘁𝗏𝗏, but the teleports as well, those managing to survive mean that they're able to actually clean up on the backside, which is great. And then 𝘁𝗏𝗏 finds himself an execute and runs for a very long time.
Yes, a very long time. You might need to get some new boots after that one. Elastic slingshot in front. He's going to be sniped by the Shadow Surge. He uses the Frozen Tomb, but he's just going to get frozen down. 𝘁𝗏𝗏 has another instance of the Shadow Surge that they can use, but they will miss 𝘁𝗏𝗏 as the inhibitor will fall in the mid lane.
A 20-minute mid lane inhibitor, it's a questionable decision. It's a controversial one. But if they can keep this pressure up, pick up another inhibitor.
𝘁𝗏𝗏 just tried to take away Levi's blue buff. Levi's having absolutely none of that.
Yeah, and now onto the dragon. That's going to be an easy pickup. That's going to be one reward. Can they convert this into a Baron? If they can convert into a Baron, this inhibitor is a worthwhile take. If not, we get angry LS. But yeah.
What if they get another inhibitor from it?
If they get another inhibitor, then hey, 2 inhibitors is kind of insane to come back from this early. You just don't have the damage, especially when you're working with a Jhin, right? Like, Jhin struggles with those super minions, so if they can grab a Baron, if they can...
Levi.
Yeah, that too. That's a definite thing he struggles with. But...
Saigon, I see what you're trying to go for, folks, but I hate to break it to you. There's 2 teleports for GAM, and 𝘁𝗏𝗏's here.
God.
This is brilliant. This is like
they are.
This feels like playing almost like hide and seek, or when you play football with your dad when you're like 3 years old and he's like moving the ball away from you, kind of thing.
This is like when you play football. This is when you play football with the Maori blokes who are much bigger than you, and they just walk at you, and you have to run.
Well, 𝘀𝘀ci's not running anywhere. He's flying back to the base, or I don't know. However dead people make their way back to the base. Okay. 𝘀𝗰𝗋 might have overstepped, so overall it's a 1-for-1, but GAM don't really care because, hey, there's a Baron up, and hey, GAM are taking it.
Yeah, hey 𝘀𝗰𝗋, good job. You don't get the Baron anymore, so have fun with that. Vex is just hit really far forward defending, not letting BJ anywhere near the pit. And they just too frightened to come near him, and fair enough. He's got 2 items complete. He's a very painful lad. He does a lot of damage. He's got the Luden's Echo this time, making a person on the desk very happy. And there's just so much damage coming out from GAM right now. It's not fun for SGB.
Okay, so I want to stop talking about this game a little bit, and I want to talk about future games. Unless you want to talk about this replay, Marby.
I mean, it's not a heck of a lot to talk about. It's just to pick on 𝘀𝘀ci.
Okay, cool. So
yeah.
I'll go back to my point then. So essentially, what I wanted to say is, for the side of 𝘀𝗰𝗶𝗹𝗀, they've got to play 𝘀𝘀ci next. Do you think 𝘀𝗰𝗶𝗹𝗀 are going to beat them? Because 𝘀𝘀ci had a very good week 2.
They did, but again, this is one where you actually do look at the strength of schedule and say, this matters a lot. Yes, BTS looked really good and pretty much said, yeah, we're better than these teams. When it comes to SGB, even though SGB are sort of on a downswing and we have BTS on the upswing, I still think they're around they're approaching a very similar level that it's a bit too hard to call. I would favor SGB for the pedigree, but hey, I wouldn't be shocked to see a BTS win.
I mean, the only thing that we have that can really compare them from that last week alone, 𝘀𝗰𝗶𝗹𝗀 2-1 against Team Secret versus 𝘀𝗀ci 2-0 against Team Secret. Those are the only same teams that they played in week 2. But either way, I am very excited for the games that await us on Thursday. I think it's going to be a very defining game for the league as a whole, with GAM taking on 𝘀𝘀ci as well on that day. But we might be having our game-defining play happening right now, our series-defining play, as GAM are just pushing in the bottom lane. Oh my god, Shogun just takes, well, a big gun to the face right there. Lastic slingshot in from 𝘁𝑎𝑖. 𝘀𝑚 tries to engage. 𝘀𝑚 tries to make something happen, but B stops the engage. And everyone from 𝘀𝗰𝗶𝗹𝗀 are starting to die. One will fall from the side of GAM. No, never mind. No one fell from the side of GAM. That was just 𝘁𝑎𝑖. And 𝘁𝑎𝑖's got his passive up. So for GAM, they get 3 kills for nothing. And they're just going to be pushing in to the next house with 2 waves of Baron-empowered super minions. Shogun's trying desperately to get a kill, will eventually get gifted, avenged by 𝘀𝗀𝗋 with a shock blast to the face. They get a little bit of a knock-up onto 𝘀𝑚𝗋, but that is all. 𝘀𝗀𝗋 falls to go golden under the Nexus and will eventually fall to the Fountain Laser. And, well, this is just GAM playing with their food, going on to 𝘀𝗀𝗋. They're not going to be able to get the kill because the Nexus will fall. GAM will take the 2-1, and GAM will cement their position as the 3rd best team in the VCS.
Yeah, it's a fantastic showing from GAM in that last game. That's the one we want to see. They fumble a little bit in a couple of fights, but if you look at the end, they got so far ahead that they were just like having fun at the end there. That's just, you can't say otherwise. Look at how DivKid was playing. That was just objectively bad, but he's so far ahead. He's like, hey, why not? We're winning the game anyway. Man, it's crazy.
I mean, let's bring Gizmo back in, because the final 4 or 5 minutes of that game didn't even feel like GAM being serious. That just felt like, it almost felt like 𝘁𝑎𝑖 was in the comms. Guys, I'm going to go in now. I'm going to go in. Let's see what happens, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he was just playing the Tristana, just spamming that W button, just waiting for it, for sure. And I can't blame him at all, because when you're that fed, you know you have the potential to go in and one-shot someone, and you're just there waiting for the opportunity.
And Marby, we were saying during the cast, this is what we wanted to see from GAM. They had a questionable game 2. A little bit It almost feels like this series was kind of similar to the 𝘀𝑺ry series, but not as bad. Because 𝘀𝑺ry looked very questionable. They came back fairly well in their game 3. And GAM kind of did the same, not looking very good in game 2, bouncing back magnificently in game 3.
Yeah, it was very, very similar play out in terms of the series, but you have to say that the dominance from like in game 1 was like GAM was just a better version of 𝘀𝑺ry in that case, because they could have won game 2 despite that advantage, whereas 𝘀𝑺ry had no hope. Like GAM, and when GAM got grabbed hold in game 1, they were just absolutely dominant. 𝘀𝑺ry was a bit more shaky. So if we take today's matches, we would probably say GAM's looking pretty good in terms of their matchup against 𝘀𝑺ry, but you kind of have to realize when you add in the other factors, it doesn't become quite so clear.
𝘀𝑺mo, I want to throw it to you looking at the standings as a whole, because whenever we look at a league, whether that's VCS, whether that's Korea, whatever, we always talk about the groups of teams, and you say, okay, you know, it's a top 2 and then a 3-way battle for 3rd, and then however many are left. Where do we see the VCS? Do we think this is a 3-way fight for 1st, essentially? Or do we see like Cerberus ahead and then 𝘀𝑺ry and GAM for 2nd? How do you really divide the league right now?
I'd say Cerberus is just ahead, and the others are just fighting for whatever's left. I really rate Cerberus. I think they're pretty nuts. Honestly, I'm not sure who's better between 𝘀𝑺ry and GAM. I think I might have to give it to GAM, because their game that they lost was more because of a cheese draft, I want to call it. But then again, you know, I feel like they should at least get top 3.
And 𝘁𝗶𝗶𝗹𝘀, your thoughts?
Top 3, yeah, I think that's fairly sure. They're up against 𝘀𝑺ry, fighting for that top spot, and maybe if they continue, they can go up against Cerberus and contest there. We'll have to wait and see if Cerberus continues their trend of falling off late split. But until then, yeah, I'm pretty happy with Cerberus, 𝘀𝑺ry, and GAM sort of fighting for that 2nd, and then you're looking at 𝘁𝗏𝗺, BTS, the tier below. Maybe SBTC if they get their act together, but they look so lost with Artifact. It's just great.
Okay, final thing I want to bring up is for both of you, who's your MVP of the series? 𝘁𝗶𝗶𝗹, I'll go to you first.
𝘀𝑺ky. Like he got rocked in game 2 and played really badly, but in the wins he was one of the key factors. I could give it to 𝘁𝗏, but I'm still kind of mad at him about not taking that realm warp. So it's one of those two. I haven't decided.
Yeah, I couldn't give it to 𝘁𝗏 simply because I think that I don't think his Vex is as good as it seems. I think it's just a bit of people not knowing how to play into it, because it's pretty new, especially in competitive play. And I think you got to give it to 𝘀𝗀kid. I mean, he was everywhere. I sort of want to give it to B as the support, because, you know, behind every good ADC, there's a better support. So support's always better than the ADC. You know, you got to help the handlers. But it's between the two of them. I think B played brilliant, especially on the 𝘀 this time around. I think it was brilliant. But unfortunately, the 2nd game threw me off a bit, so I think I'll just give it to 𝘀𝗀kid.
Okay. Oh, I think 𝘀𝗀kid is fairly unanimous to some degree. With that, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. It's been a 𝘀𝑺ry 2-1 against Team Secret, followed by a GAM 2-1 win over 𝘀𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗏. We will be back, though, tomorrow with more action as the side of Cerberus take on 𝘀𝗀sky, and then SBTC Esports will take on Team Flash. From all of us here at the VCS English, stay tilt-proof on the Rift, and goodbye.